Full panel already this morning. Mr. D Moots Photography, David's in here. Brian Huffoto, he's in, and Jeffrey Neville from Selective Imagery. And like I always say, go check out the excuse me. Got choked here. I've been up in the attic cleaning the attic this morning. It's killing me. But anyway, check the thumbnail out. There are links to all these channels and more. And I'd appreciate if you'd go over there and check them out. Subscribe. Before I get started, I want to throw a big thank you out to Vahagan for the video he put out the other night. It was really surprising. It caught me off guard. But I really appreciate everybody that has decided to subscribe and check out the channel and become part of the community. So welcome to all the new subscribers, anybody that may be in here now or who will watch the replay of this. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. All right. Okay, so let's see who we have in here. Mike Farwell, Yaman, Martin Hild, ATR Bear, Ted. All right, great. Already got people joining. And so let's go around the horn real quick. David, what's up? What's new with you?
Well, just waiting on Nikon to announce something good other than some old-looking camera.
They're going to paint the Z6 II and call it the Z6 III.
Yeah. No, just not much going on around my neck of the woods lately. So I haven't been out too much. Just trying to sort out lenses and get rid of some duplicates. I'm getting ready to list some more lenses that I have, and I have a lot of duplicates of stuff, and most of it sits most of the time. So I'm gonna try to get rid of some of it.
You got the 400 2.8 TC up for sale, or one of your 400, right?
Yeah, I just listed it today, so we'll see what happens. It's mint condition, like bought back in July, so it's had very little use. But like I said, I have a second one now, so we're gonna get rid of one of them.
So there you go, folks. Anybody looking for a 400 2.8 TC, brand new, just get a hold of Mr. D Moots Photography there. I know it's not going to be easy to get one for a good time now. So if you got to have it now, there you go. Here's your opportunity. All right, Brian, what's going on with you, buddy?
I actually have a concept shoot today, so I'm really excited about that. This person I've shot with before, but she's bringing up some more cosplay outfits and things. We're actually going to go out on location, hoping we can do some behind the scenes videos, because for the first time on this kind of shoot today, I'll actually have an assistant with me. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah, and we're going to try out something too. I've used that. You guys seen that canned atmosphere? It's for those you've never used it. It's just aerosolized mineral oil, and it makes really cool fog effects in photos and stuff. But it's expensive. I found this little thing on Amazon, and I'm going to try it. No, it's not a vape pen, as my kids are making fun of me. But it's called a smoke pen, and it's used to find leaks inside of HVAC systems. But it's the same stuff that's in a fog machine. And this little machine was like $39 on Amazon.
So it looks cool, man. I saw Peter Lindgren using. He bought one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he paid considerably more than you paid, but he was happy about it.
The only thing I'm concerned about, and I'm going to keep it on the outside of my camera bag, is it does not have the best. It's got these little rubber stoppers that keep the tanks closed. Yeah, so that's a little concerning. The good thing is, though, you can twist this button and lock it so it cannot turn itself on. So that's nice. But we're going to try that out today and see compared, because I know one of the things that we're shooting is actually from a video game called Red Dead Redemption, and she should have a revolver, and I'm hoping to get that really cool smoke trail up from behind the revolver with that.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're going to have to show us how creative you got, man, after this.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope, as long as the client's okay with behind the scenes video, I hope we can shoot something really cool today.
That's great, man. All right. Before I get to you, Jeffrey, let me welcome everybody else that's come in. James, good to see you. J-Rod Photo Art. James, I'll send you the link if you'd like to jump in here with us. Just let me know. I mentioned everybody except for Ray Powell. Ray, good to see you in here. Good afternoon to you, sir. Alan Barnes, hi. Alan's from coming to us from Kent in the UK. Hassan, good to see you. I am Hassan. Yeah, good grit morning. All right, buddy. Mike Farwell, great to see you in here. Oh man, we got a lot of people in here. All right, good deal. Albert Jimenez. Jimenez. My wife corrects me, by the way, Albert, constantly because she is Puerto Rican, or I'm sorry, Portuguese. So I get a lesson in Spanish every day, and I can still only order at Taco Bell. That's all the Spanish I know. Gustavo, good to see you too. All right, Jeffrey, what's new in your world?
Oh, my world's always interesting. No, no, like I said before the show, I went out this morning and it was 54, which you figure, oh, that ain't too bad, but 45-mile-an-hour winds and trying to hold a 500 PF on a camera with the wind blowing at you almost knocks you down sometimes. But I think I got some pretty good shots, but nature's kind of been on strike lately, so it's slim pickings. David knows what I'm talking about. It's and everywhere across the world. I mean, when we had the problems down at the park, people from all over, were on my channel sending me messages. Oh yeah, I live, different part of the world, and we got the same problems and stuff like that. So it's everywhere. It's tough.
No, well,
I guess I'll have to switch to, I'll have to go and visit Huff and say, hey, man, I got to cross over to your side of the dark side of the force.
well, we've got another storm rolling in, going to roll up the coast, I guess. I haven't looked at the latest path or whatever, but the tropical storm, which they expect is going to be hurricane force, maybe not a big hurricane, super high winds, but I guess that's going to tap Florida tomorrow. At least that's the last prediction I saw. And
Yeah.
it's just what Florida needs is another hurricane or tropical storm, but it's going to be interesting to see how that progresses. So the rest of us get it, I guess, this weekend. It's coming right up the coast, so it's not going to help you out any, Jeffrey.
No, we're gonna get hit Friday, I guess. So all the debris that they never picked up from the hurricane will just get pushed around further. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Amar's got a new 247 photography's got a new stream he's doing. It's called what? Tubers, or I can't remember. I wish I could remember right off the top of
Tuber
my head.
Weekly.
Yeah.
Tuber Weekly. There you go.
Yeah.
Where he's going to bring the news about what all the big names, the big YouTubers are saying. One stop shop, I guess, is what he's calling it, to hear what they're talking about. That's interesting. That's nice, just to catch up on what's going on, because I don't watch those guys typically. So I'm glad somebody's going to fill me in on what craziness or greatness is going on with the million subscriber channels. Joe Mac, good to see you.
Yeah, I think I wrote to him and told him I'll let you listen to all the BS I don't want to listen to, and then you could just give me the highlights.
Yeah, and Daryl saying yes, the storm's hitting us Friday or Saturday. Yep, traveling up to Maine to take photos. Just my luck with the timing. I know how you feel, brother. And you know what? There's some bad timing going on. Not just with Nikon. I won't start that rant, but it seems like there's a lot of bad timing going on for a lot of us. I know that Brian's having an issue with the water line. I had the issue with my septic tank. I know you guys don't care to hear all that, but I'm sure everybody, I don't know what's going on, man. We had a full moon and everything broke.
Yeah.
Well, Martin, I'm glad you had a good day in France.
Hey, Joe Man's Land. Joe Man's Land. For those that haven't checked it out, go check out his channel. He's a new up and comer. I like his content. And so go check him out. Joe Man's Land on YouTube. All right. Let's see. Let me throw Martin's comment up here. I witnessed the most amazing dawn last Sunday in France. Wow. With thousands of gray cranes. Wow. So I beg to differ, Jeffrey.
Well, I'm not going to hop a plane to France for you to make me cheer up a little bit.
Yeah, Daryl, I agree. Bad weather up there with the lighthouse, that might be a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen those images with the lighthouses where the ocean is frozen on them. I love those. They're so amazing.
All right. So the show today, I just thought about, what's everybody shooting? Because we're in that transition period, that time of the year where if you're an outdoors shooter, it may be, you may be shutting down, have less opportunities. I don't know. So I thought I'd throw it up there as a topic, and it doesn't matter if you're an outdoor, indoor, whatever, what have you been shooting lately? And do the seasons affect? If you're a working pro, do the seasons affect whatever it is that you're doing as a working pro? But want to hear from everybody, what's going on out there in the photo world, and how did the season affect you? I'm a fair weather shooter. I'm going to be honest. I don't like being cold and wet. I did that enough in life, but so, and it's funny, Nikon historically has always dropped some camera or lens or something that I want in the winter time. So I wind up, standing outside freezing, trying to use this new lens that I just bought. Nikon, be a little more friendly. Give us stuff in the summer. Well, it looks like that may happen this year, so I might get my wish. And so anyway, just whatever you guys are shooting, let's get the chat going, and you guys tell us.
Well, I know in my neck of the woods, Chuck, I'm waiting on, we'll have the ducks coming through here real soon, and the eagles are going to start coming into our area pretty thick. I mean, we have lots of resident eagles that live here year round, but when they start migrating through as the snow geese come through here, it gets pretty heavy with eagles. And so it's getting to be my time of year here real quick, and then I'll probably take my normal trip up to Minnesota for great gray owls up at Sax-Zim-Bog. I don't know if anybody's ever been there, but
no,
it's a pretty good place to go for great gray owls. So I'm looking forward to some cooler weather and all these to migrate on through.
Yaman, I had a bad start today with Nikon news. Oh, come on, Yaman. We got a new old camera.
Hey, anybody that has a ZFC, send it to me. I'll spray paint it black for you, reasonably cheap, and send it back. I could use the extra money.
So we received 2 new old cameras this year. All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. The Z30 and the ZFC in black. Well, that's what they're getting ready to do. We're going to get the Z6 III probably soon, because as soon as they can supply the paint to paint it, we're going to get the get a brand new old Z6 II. We'll call it the Z6 III though. Hey, Brian, good to see you in here. 6-string Brian, good to see you, brother. If you'd like to join, just let me know. Let's see what else we got going on. Snow and streets, as long as it's not 25 below. Yeah, and you're up there where you're already seeing some cool, or not just cool, but snow and things, Joe, up in Calgary.
Oh yeah, they're oh man, they can have the weather up there, man. I think they've already had below 0 temperatures.
Hey, Greg, you're not late. You're right on time, man. You're right on time, brother. You can never be late here. I'm the only one that could be late. Mike's talking about football. High school football is over, so portraiture stuff until spring. Can't wait to get down to South Padre for the winter 3 months. Wow, man, that'd be nice.
My routine won't change at all. As Dave says, things change, and I'll be there in same place when it's wind chill 14 degrees or whatever, dressed up like I'm in Alaska. The white pelicans showed up today because they show up when it starts getting cooler, and when the crummier the weather gets and the cooler it gets, then the eagles start flying around. I got some eagle shots today. Nothing fantastic, but at least they're getting more active now that it's getting cooler. So you get a whole different, along with the ducks, like David said. So you get you get some different things that come in, but it's not the quantity per se usually, or the variety that you might have in different parts of the year. But at least it's something different. But you pay for it because you're not going to be warm by any means.
That is true.
What Greg said they're making a camo Z9. I actually bought my Z6 used on eBay, and it had gray and black camo body armor like stickers on it, but they did such a good job of putting them on, you can't even tell it. I just left them on there.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll come out with the different leatherette colors, pink and sky blue and all that other stuff like they did on. Well, I mean, didn't they do that on the ZFCs? You can order different color leather.
Yeah.
Not here, but yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, not here in Japan, I guess, but.
Oh man.
Always wanted a hot pink Z9, man. I'll tell you.
So did she, Wade.
Took it right out of my mouth.
Hey Zach, how you doing, buddy? Cold outdoors until the colors disappear. You shoot. Okay, yeah. Well, the colors are gone here now already in Connecticut. We're already down to the backdrop of twigs, just brown. You switch to shooting studio bodyscape almost exclusively until spring. Yep. But you've got something that carries you through you've got another genre that you can shoot. Unlike some, I don't know what does a landscape photographer do? Is he wait in the wintertime until there's snow on the ground? I mean, right now would not be the best time to do landscape photography in Connecticut. That's for sure.
No.
That's when you go find some old barns and stuff like that, when the snow's on, and take pictures of that stuff.
Early morning fog or in the evening sunsets, I guess. Oh, we still have a little color here today. It's actually going to be like 75 degrees today while we're out shooting, which is crazy for November.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this warm. It always scares me when it stays this warm this late. That means storms are coming.
Yeah. Greg, you didn't miss anything, buddy. And if you did, we're going to talk about it again. That's how it works here.
He was so late. I went from a full head of hair to bald during that time.
Oh man. So Joe's talking about he had to go on a bus up to Edmonton to shoot over the weekend. There was so much snow, and I saw 15 cars off road one way and 20 off road the other way. Man, Mad Max out there. Man, I can't imagine having to deal with snow. Although there was one year here in Connecticut when I don't know how many years ago it was, where I got snow right before Thanksgiving and had snow in the yard, covering the yard until April. It was a bad year up here for snow that year.
We had snow in Connecticut in October sometimes.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How you doing, Long Rider? Good to see you in here, man.
I got a dog bothering me. Go get it.
Yeah, you're up in I don't know exactly where, but I know you're up north here, Brian, up in Canada. Be shooting the Remembrance Day ceremony on Friday morning. Hopefully it won't snow. I every year, I haven't for the last couple of years, but I used to shoot in December the wreath. I can't think of the name of it. So volunteers go out and put wreaths on gravestones of veterans. Yeah. And man, I've had a couple of those that were just bitter cold, but it's great to see people out doing stuff like that. And I've shot that a few years. Not easy when it's so cold out. Let's see. There you go.
Is it Wreaths Across America? I think is what that is.
That's it. You got it. Wreaths Across America.
Yeah.
And I've shot that.
We used to lay those. We got with the Boy Scouts. That's one of the things that we did every year at our national cemetery down here was put those out.
Yep. That's coming up next month.
Yep.
Once leaves fall off, I usually shift to shooting New York City. Yep, I've been down there in the winter. I did some street photography. I've got a few photos catching, uh, people down there in the city in the snow. They're great photos in black and white.
Oh, actually, thanks to Vahagan, in one of his streams, he mentioned about buying used equipment and everything when he was buying lenses, and he mentioned an app that I had not really thought about, and I went on it the other day and got a 28 millimeter 2.8 open box for $140.
Wow.
So I was like, "Hey, I got a Vahagan level deal. Thanks for listening to him."
Where was that
man.
at?
Oh, it's an app called Macari.
Macari, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an app you can get on your phone, and I'm actually myself listed a lens on there to see. It seems like their fees and everything are not so bad as eBay.
Yeah, eBay
I
just
sold some stuff on eBay the other day, and wow.
eBay just robs you.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. I guess inflation's hit eBay too. It takes a lot to manipulate computers because
For the last few years, we had a trading card board game store that we ran, and we ran an online store at a marketplace. And that marketplace was designed to where stores like us could have a place for our single cards to go. Which living in a rural area, it was really difficult if we took in these cards for trade in for them to have anywhere to go. And eBay just bought that marketplace. And they had in turn bought 2 other marketplaces. So there's only one website now that's not under eBay control that sells trading cards online.
Long Rider talking about he uses Alpha Guard. I don't know what it is, but on all my cameras, really good stuff. It's made by 3M and protects the finish.
Okay.
That's cool. Alpha Guard. I'm going to write that down.
I thought that was just for Sony cameras. That's why he's got it. Alpha Guard. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
About 3M. Got it, Long Run. I'm gonna check it out. Greg Wilson. Come on, Nikon. When will they get serious? Hey, buddy, Nikon's given you 2 new old cameras this year already. 2 new old cameras. You can't beat that. Oh, hey, Briar, good to see you. Mega Briar patch in here. Real estate has slowed lately. Markets finally normalized after COVID. Interest rates have shot. Yeah, haven't they? Wow. Went from shooting 22 to 25 a week. Wow. To 12 to 16 a week. Wedding season's in full swing. So,
Wow.
All right.
Even my cat said, "Wow."
That was so perfect.
The timing was perfect. Like,
Yeah, good job, Kitty.
You trained the cat to do that on command, or what? You pull the tail and it goes meow.
I'll tell you, this cat is very, very vocal all the time. She's one of the noisiest cats I've ever had.
Ooh, I would love a graffiti finish. That's cool.
Abdiyama, hey, how you doing? Glad to see you in here, sir. And Mike talking about fall colors have come and gone. Yeah, they have here too, Mike. We're down to just brown branches and twigs. Looks like the apocalypse out there.
Greg got 3,300 views on his skunks eating short.
Let me catch up here. Let me get down here a little farther. Yeah, Ray, I was going to say that a few minutes ago. Man, my feeders are emptying, fast. It's like the birds know, get ready, it's coming. And I've got tons of birds. As a matter of fact, it's drawing a sharp-shin hawk that continues to, I can't get a photo of him. You can imagine he's here and gone, but he's watching the feeders. And I don't know how many birds he may have gotten already.
Gee, Chuck, I don't know if you saw, there's a few video, he puts out a lot of videos, so it was probably a few videos ago. Ordinary Filmmaker went on a mini rant on one of his shows, and I'm like, Chuck's rubbing off on him. He got on a roll. I think about the R6 II being a disappointment for him or whatever, and he was doing a bit of rambling, and he was getting a little upset about Canon. So I'm like, hey, yeah, Chuck's rubbing off on the crowd. Let's go.
Hey, Sleek Images. I've shot the 200 to 500 on a Z9 and never had any trouble getting sharp images out of it. Did you have trouble before? Have you shot it on a different body?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with that lens is it's not fast to acquire, but once it does, it locks on pretty darn good.
Yeah,
I
every
didn't use it
copy
on-
every copy of 200 to 500 I've had through the years has been tack sharp. Says it's been
Tack
sharp on
the
the Z500.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have one anymore, but
Well,
when I did have it,
okay. And I don't want to insult anybody's, knowledge of cameras, photography, and anything else, but I will. It begs the question, 24 megapixels or 20 megapixels versus 45. You got to be careful there.
it does change things a little bit when you get higher megapixels. It makes things that weren't as obvious, especially on a D500,
Yep.
makes it a little more obvious on a higher megapixel if you're just
Yep.
not quite holding it steady enough. Or
Yeah.
Shutter speed maybe a little faster, but yeah.
Yeah, you might want to try taking some sample shots at higher shutter speeds than you normally would use and see what happens, because when I started getting into big lenses, I had to practice my hand holding technique again because I got a little lazy with it. And I was getting soft images, and I said, I don't think it's the lens, I think it's me. So I literally practiced in my house and just worked on that, and then now I can hold pretty much anything, and I don't have an issue. But
when the D800 came out, everybody, or not everybody, a lot of people were experiencing a problem. They thought it was the camera, and it was it was just that we weren't used to shooting at that with that much resolution, and it made you step up your game and do what you needed to do. Being careful how you were shooting and making sure you had enough shutter speed to allow for some movement.
and that is very true, because I went from a D500 to that D850, and I even experienced that. And and I'd been shooting for a long time, and I was so used to shooting that D500 that when I switched over, I was like, "What the heck's going on here?" And that's what it is. It's just a higher resolution.
So I had the D4 as soon as it came out, and then I got a D800 too. I was lucky, in chasing it down. But anyway, and I picked the D800 showed up, and I was so happy to get it, man. 36 megapixel. This is going to be great. And I took it out shooting without even considering the resolution of that camera. And I was thinking, man, everything's soft. What's wrong with this camera? Everybody, is raving about it. And honestly, I was just that ignorant that I didn't take into consideration the higher resolution, and it did make a difference. I had to, reevaluate how I was shooting, and often, I could not salvage, but often I could take care of that by just, changing the shutter speed.
Yeah, you get away with a lot more on a lower megapixel camera for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The higher you go, the more the effects of improper technique or even cheap glass start to show problems, and you'll scratch your head for a while. But the safest thing to do is to just know that it's not the lens. It's just get a little silly and crank up the shutter speed higher than you normally would. And if things look sharp, then it's probably just you got to get used to that higher resolution. You got to work on your hand holding techniques a little bit better.
If it was sharp on your D500, it's going to be sharp on your Z9. It's just something with the way you're shooting. Probably you just need to practice a little bit more or something, or change
Yeah.
some settings.
Oh.
Actually, Albert Jimenez is onto something here. I had to step away for a minute. I just got a phone call. Does this share screen thing work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love you, man. I love you.
Yeah, this is what we just got in. So see if this works.
You're asking Chuck, who has the best audio of any YouTuber, whether the technology is going to work or not.
Nikon crickets, absolutely. Where'd you go? Daggone it! Ron was just in here. I was getting ready to throw him on up here in the panel, and he walked away. Yeah, there you go. And I guess if we're going to get on, it's always we're always gonna go back to.
I've waited
back
so long
to
to share that.
equipment.
That's good.
I should put that on one of the crickets down south. The bugs down here are a lot bigger. The crickets are probably twice as big as that.
Ron, where'd you go?
Carl McNeil says he's waiting on the 200 to 600. So is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man. Yeah, the black cricket will come out next year.
Yeah.
I'll paint it for you. Send them to my house. I'll paint them.
I wonder if Nikon's going to release like a super good crop body and that 200, 600 at the same time. Since the D500 and the 200 to 500 was kind of the wildlife combo.
Does that make sense? You think, David, to do that?
I mean,
no. I mean,
do
you think it makes sense to do
it
that?
It does to me. And this
then it won't happen. It won't happen.
Yeah. Well, I walked into that one. You're right.
He lined the pins up just right and threw the bowling ball down. That's it. Strike.
But I mean, if they're going to do it, and if they're waiting this long, that to me seems like that's their plan. It would make a great combo.
So, there's rumblings out too, if we're on cameras and gear and whatever for a minute here. There's rumblings in the Sony camp that I guess there's a rumor. I don't know if it started by somebody in the forum or if there's something significant that I guess Sony's looking for a new flagship or whatever. Not looking for, but maybe something in development. I guess maybe it's just people speaking out and saying, here's what we want, Sony, just like we do over here. And I warn you, Sony people, don't do that because you're going to be disappointed if you ask for something. All right. And why would you matter? You're just the consumer. All right.
If you're asking now for stuff, believe me, they've already made up their minds a year ago what they're going to put in the next camera. So it really won't matter. You won't see it in the next body.
I was looking at the Z9. Of course, looking at it. It looks incredibly heavy, but I was looking at it versus like the weight of the DSLR flagships and stuff, and it's like significantly lighter. So one of these days, I would actually love to have a place where I can actually pick up a Z9 and see what it feels like.
It's got some heft to it.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad, but you have it in your hand for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible now. I mean, the weight and size is terrible, and it's only terrible because now we've gotten used to these pocket-sized cameras. They're not literally pocket size, but they're so much smaller and lighter than even the full frame DSLR bodies were. So
yeah, I mean, the Z30 has ruined me for a walk around camera that I can just carry with me because it is so light.
Yeah.
So Brian's saying Sony A1 version 2, hopefully in February. Hey, Brian, are you guys asking for a body change on that, or same body size and everything? Or, I mean, what are you guys expecting? I'm curious. I guess, Simon over at Ordinary Filmmaker. I did not watch that video. There's so many videos that have come out recently. I just can't keep up with it and try to have a life. But I guess,
You watch 100 times more videos than I do, Chuck. So I don't know how
yeah,
you do it as it is.
I tried to, just so I know what people are talking about. So all I can do now for the last couple of weeks is say, yeah, I saw the video, but or I saw the post for the video, but I haven't watched it. But I guess he's talking about maybe the R1 is closer than than they thought. I don't know. All right.
I consume so much YouTube I have every streaming service known to man, and I watch 99% of what I watch is YouTube. I'd much rather watch YouTube content than an actual movie or television show.
Yeah, Gustavo. I watched his video, and it's amazing, and I'm just tired of making excuses. You guys know that. I don't want to make excuses. I'm not trying to justify what they're doing or whatever, you know. And he has very valid points in that. And I've heard several videos with people explaining away why Nikon's doing what they're doing or whatever. So yeah, I don't know, man. The Z600, talking about it before FIFA and the World Cup, and I don't know, man. I'm torn between, okay, Nikon, you're doing the right thing. Get it get it out there for people that are actually. How many pro photographers are shooting the World Cup? A handful.
It's amazing the amount of long glass that Nikon has kicked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It truly amazes me that they've done that.
Hey,
I mean,
Ron's here.
I hope they come out with the 85-1.2 and the 35-1.2 at the same time, because there's a lot of people that really want those lenses really bad.
Yeah.
Those interest me.
It's time to make. You got to satisfy all genres of photography. Toss the portrait photographers and the wedding photographers a bone, for crying out loud.
I know. Please, I have 2 kidneys. I only need one. Yeah. Please put out the 85-1.2.
I don't even shoot that stuff, and I want an 85-1.2 just to have for around the house with the kids and family.
Yeah, Zach, you're right. We're waiting for the Z8 or whatever. But you know what, Canon, I gotta give it to Canon. They did it right. They filled out the consumer prosumer line, and pretty well, I might add. Because Nikon could have done this very same thing, but they chose to go high end. Here's new tech, cutting edge tech in a camera body, and I think that's wonderful. But if it were me, I'd have had something in the lower tier to go along with it pretty quick after it was announced, because that's where Nikon's lacking right now. And there's so many more people waiting for those cameras. And then I get the typical, well, what's wrong with the cameras you have? Oh, do I have to go through that again? Do I really have to explain? I'm going to refer people to older streams. Here, go over here.
Yeah, some things we definitely talked to death. That's for sure.
Yeah, here's Baron. Baron, you're welcome in here if you want to join. Just let me know. Long lens release makes perfect sense given the release of the Z9. The 85 and 35 will drop next year with the high-end FX camera and Z6 III. Well, yeah, I give you that. I don't know that it makes perfect sense, though. This is where we disagree, Baron. I still don't. And coming, I'm arguing it from the consumer point. Again, I'm not asking for some of these things that I'm talking about and complaining about and ranting about for myself. I don't want the 2-600. But I know there's so many people out there that want it. And I plead, to Nikon to satisfy their largest portion of their customer base. And it's not pros. All right. So, and I'm not going to go down all that again. I agree with you that it's great that it's out with the Z9, but I think we could have compromised. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Nikon could have compromised a little bit and helped us out. And granted, 3 years from now, it won't make a bit of difference, will it? But it does right now. And I just want to, this isn't exactly fitting for what we're talking about, but a lot of people have been talking about perception. Guess what? Perception's reality. It's reality. Oxymoron there. Perception is reality. It's what people believe, what people think, what people want. That you can't take that away. And that's what manufacturers should want in a customer base. So
Hey
anyway,
guys, my client is almost a half hour early today, so
all
I'm
right,
gonna have to
buddy.
bug out of here. But hopefully, we'll get something really cool made today. And y'all have fun. Appreciate y'all having me on this morning.
Yeah. Take care.
You're
Enjoy
welcome,
seeing
Brian.
you guys every week.
I like the
Good
little
luck with
I like the
man.
backdrop there, man. It looks good.
I'm actually on my laptop lid camera today because I've got all my gear packed in one small bag. So it's like I'm like a pregnant woman today. Everything's in one bag and I'm ready to go.
All right.
So thank you guys. I'll see y'all on the next one.
All right,
Take
brother.
care.
Hey,
All right.
yes, J Rod, I did get a haircut. Thank you for noticing. Even my wife didn't notice.
All right,
Even my
great.
wife didn't notice. And I have a funny story about that. I'll tell y'all later.
Ronald, we got an open seat. You need to get in here, man. I saw you over there in the green room. I was too late to click and bring you into the panel. And I can't remember who.
Mike Farwell makes a comment after the Z9. What else in the Nikon lineup has really fast AF? Well, we've talked that to death too. I mean, that's the whole trickle down the Z9 tech into the lower end bodies or mid-tier bodies, which they have not done yet. They don't have yet. So that's the whole Z6 III, Z7 III, Z8 discussion that we've had over and over again, and Nikon will do it when they're good and ready, no matter what anybody else thinks. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. Mozman's saying the 400, 600 were in R&D at the same time. Bodies are near identical. They share elements of technology. 600 being released now means they were making parts for it the whole time. Yeah, I would agree. You know what? And I'm going to apply that to the Z9 and Z8. Same theory. So I don't understand it. But anyway, you're right. It'll happen when it happens, Jeffrey. I know my ranting hasn't changed anything. If anything, it's made it worse because we keep getting super telephotos. Oh, man.
Well, hey, let's complain some more, and then Nikon's next lens will be a 1200 millimeter.
Yeah. Okay, Ronald. All right, man. What else? All right, Ron. Hey, have a good time with your students, brother. You're working photographer. You got to do what you got to do. Life and paying bills comes first. I get it. I absolutely understand.
James says, will the new 85 1.2 make Sheway any better looking? Not likely. It'll just show more defects.
Carl McNeil. Nikon needs to come out with another low-end body like the Z30, but with an EVF. You need 3 points of contact when hand-holding a camera, especially with long lenses. Yeah.
The Z30 wasn't made for long lenses, though.
No, it's made, not that it can't be used that way, but it's made specifically for vloggers and streamers and so on and so forth. But, there may be people that find other uses for it, but that was Nikon's intent. That was their target. That's their target audience. Get something in that segment. So, yeah. And again, I got beat up over the Z30 when it came out because, I was upset with Nikon. I'm still upset with Nikon. I mean, who's kidding who here?
No, you got to do your yay Nikon. You didn't do your yay Nikon today.
Yeah. I just thought it was terrible timing, for that camera. But, Nikon proved me wrong, man. Proved me wrong. Yes, beginners need a proper camera. I agree, Carl.
Well,
but I think that's where the Z50 comes in.
Yeah, the Z50, the Z5. I mean, it's
Yep, and the
those
Z5.
are all
Yep,
those are all really good cameras for that.
yep, yep. I agree.
Yeah, if you're
Uh-oh. Drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
live from
to the panel, live from the new billionaire in California.
Yeah, I was wondering if he's actually hit it.
I was too when I first saw it.
The only
Mr.
thing
Rock
I
and
knew,
Roll himself, Vahography, Mr. Vahagan.
only reason why I knew he didn't.
Hi
hit
guys,
it, he
Hey,
didn't contact me about my 400.
how are you guys doing?
Good.
good,
doing
good.
good, brother. How about you?
Good, man. Good. What's new? What's good?
Well,
As they say, we're on
first
the
of
right
all, I
side.
want to thank you again for that video. I really appreciate that. And
No problem, man. Anytime.
But other than that, I don't know. We started out talking about how the seasons might affect what you shoot and what are you shooting now. But, and I get beat up all the time. Why are we talking about gear yet? Gear is in the chat, so I don't know how I ignore
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah.
So are you the winner of the Powerball there, Vahagan?
Yeah, I am.
I got to run out today and at least get a few tickets, just so I can't win if you don't play, as they say.
I wish I was, man. I wish.
Ray,
Yeah.
I'm guessing you watched the video from Grays of Westminster for the announcement of the new old camera. And I know that they were talking about that. I don't know, I don't know that that's a wise move at all for Nikon anytime soon. I know that there are people out there that want it, but I just don't know that it's enough to make it a viable camera body, at least not right now. But because I feel that way, get ready. Next month you might actually see that camera.
Well, the thing is, what they'll do, though, unfortunately, is they'll just take the guts out of an existing camera and put it in a different body. So, yeah, it'll have that retro look or whatever, but from a functionality standpoint, it probably isn't going to be like, oh, wow, it's got all this new tech in it. It's probably going to be, we got a lot of inventory we got to use up that we had for the Z6 II or the Z7 II, and let's throw it in a different body and call it a ZF, which some people may like and some people may not.
It's got a notification from Nikon USA introducing the Nikkor Z 40mm f2.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's just-
Mozman, where you been,
That's
Mozman?
just the retro styled one. That's basically a copy of the existing lens.
Yeah.
Mozman's been quiet for 3 days.
He's been busy. He's been working.
Oh yeah, soaking it up in Miami.
Oh, he's been doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Agree, Gustavo. Agree.
Any new news from Nikon? I haven't checked.
No, just they're now shipping out cans of black spray paint if you want to convert any other cameras that you have.
Hey, Rob Von Rant. Yeah. We last year, I say last year, it's like it's been that long, but back earlier in the year, we were on that kick too, trying to establish, Nikon coming out with an entry level camera. And at the time, Nikon had made the statement that they were moving away from entry level cameras and going to concentrate on higher end. That was Nikon that made those statements. But we talked about Nikon needs a good entry level camera body. Not that they don't have it, but priced right. I think that was the big conversation. Priced low enough that everybody could, it would entice more shooters to jump into mirrorless or jump into Nikon or whatever. And we're not opposed to that at all. But the Z30 was not it. the Z30 had a specific audience. It's not entry level for still shooters. It's entry level for those that want to stream, vlog, and whatever. And I guess they consider the ZFC, the Z50 are the entry level cameras, and you could even consider the Z5, I guess, as a full frame entry level camera. So not opposed to entry level cameras at all. Oh, let's see. Yeah, look how well the ZFC sold. Yeah, I agree. I think the retro look sold the camera though, Ray. Honestly, I know the specs are good, but I think you put that in a conventional body, and I don't think it sells as well. It will sell, but the ZFC is cool. It's a cool looking camera.
Yeah, it didn't sell on specs. It sold
No.
strictly for the way it looks.
Yep.
Hey, Chuck, we got 196 to go, man. We got till the end of the year. Come on, man. Get you over 1,000. Let's go.
Yeah.
For those
bad-
of you who haven't,
Bad, you
For
can't
those-
like. Hey, we should since some people vote twice, we should try to subscribe twice and see what happens.
for those of you in the chat right now, we got what? How many? We got 40. For those of you in the chat, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that thing. Trying to get
Yeah.
Chuck over 1,000. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, the algorithm. There's a special algorithm that it's applied to my channel. Mozman brought this up before. It's working against me because YouTube and Nikon and everybody else doesn't want my channel to grow. Yeah, Mozman. That's why I keep saying, or he's saying jokingly. Well, not so much, I guess. Nikon provided us with 2 new old cameras this year.
Yeah.
That's why I made the joke that they're going to paint the Z6 II and we're going to get a Z6 III real soon. So,
Yeah, I saw Z-Wade's post talking about a ZFC Black.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, it's
All right.
official. It's
All right,
real.
all right. And they're,
It's
they're playing the Fuji game with the
Yeah,
black
well,
version. And
yeah. Well, the not rangefinder, but film body, look all black. I like it. I actually like it. I'm not buying one. Don't get me wrong, but I like the look of the camera, and that's what Umesh is saying right here. The ZFC looks awesome. I agree. It looks cool. It really does.
Well,
yeah,
it's
they
funny,
came out with
all
these. They came out with these
historic-
these new lenses, right?
Well, new old lenses.
New old lenses, yeah.
Yeah.
No, same lens, just in the. Is this one the nostalgic look?
Yeah.
40
Yeah, it's
F2?
the black with the metal with the chromed control ring with the black body.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, I like the look of it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just I'm just jabbing Nikon a little bit here because, well, because I can.
Oh, it's funny. When you look at older cameras, if you have a body, the same camera when they used to come out with the black leatherette with the chrome, or an all black camera, when you look up what the values are, the all black cameras are always worth more money than the ones that are chrome. But you get the brassing effect. You get the black paint does wear off.
Yeah.
The chrome really doesn't. So you got to decide what you like.
Well,
I like the
Michael's in
looks of the
here.
black cameras. I got like 3 of them that are all black, but they don't hold up.
Michael's
like
in
the chrome.
here. Michael's in here, and he's a Fuji guy. Fuji
Yeah,
XT3, XT4. They usually come out in black, and then they come out with their titanium version or silver. Am I
Yeah.
right, Michael? I might be wrong with that, but something like that.
He's saying he has a lot of gas. I don't know. There's medicine you can take for that.
Me too.
Mozman.
Yeah.
Oh, oh man.
Actually, Leica has a black paint version of their
Yep.
cameras, and those are expensive. Those
Yep.
are collector items, you know.
Yep.
I ordered the new 600 TC in white. I'll see if I get one.
You're just trying to fit in with another crowd, David.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see something next year, I hope, and I expect Nikon's going to step up to the plate and start filling out some of the team, if you will. We've got the center. If you're looking at basketball as an example here, but we don't have any forwards. We don't have any guards. So, and no, I'm not going to include the Z62, Z72, Z6, Z7 in the lineup. No, it's time for a new team. So I don't know. Maybe will we get an announcement by March, or are we going to get a camera by March? I guess that's the next talking point. We're finished for this year.
Is Mossman back or is he still in Miami? Mossman.
He was talking about. There's a comment up above where he's talking about event shooting's no joke. 3 12-hour plus days.
Hey, can I make a shameless plug on this
Please.
stream? This week, I might schedule a photography talk with Joe Man's Land. We're just working out the time slot. And next week, Tuesday, I have Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I have Peanut Chew.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Peanut
I like
Chew.
Peanut Chew.
Yeah, he's coming on. He's going to talk about his long lenses and his Z9 and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
so that's going to be an interesting talk. I saw his video with the his video with shooting birds, doing video.
Yeah.
And those videos are spectacular, man. Those videos look great. So
That's going to be fun. Peanut Chew. I love watching his videos. I found him right at the beginning when he just started, and I found
I
it.
did too.
I found it so entertaining. I love that he has his family involved in it.
Yeah.
and his actual photos and out on the ground shooting, I think, is great too.
Yeah, I
Carl.
subscribed back when he pretty much first started, and he checked out one of my videos and was asking me about the video of the Z9. So I was telling him how I did it. So yeah, he's come a long way. His channel's growing, and I love his content.
You try to get Verhagen. I don't know if you've ever gone to his channel or not. Is that gentleman? I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Goran Johansson. Halmstad Photo.
Yes, the guy that wakes up in the morning.
Yeah, that has all the blinds that he goes to and everything, and freezes it behind off and puts heaters in there. And boy, he takes some wonderful wildlife photos. Really, really good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're going to talk with Joe Man's Land too. He's in the chat. We've been.
Yeah, we just got to. I think it's going to happen tomorrow. I just don't know when. But we're both going to be live streaming. It's going to be live.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's welcome. Looking forward to Joe Man's Land as well. I think I like his videos, man. Kind of like he reminds me of like a Canadian Matt Irwin.
Huh.
I'm sorry, I can't see that resemblance, but
no. Just the style of the shooting
style.
And
yeah, I like. Yeah, I like it too. He's very energetic, and you're going to see a lot more of him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like that he uses sometimes older lenses on Z bodies. I like that he experiments with all kinds of stuff. So, and he's a younger demographic, man.
Yeah,
which is good. Good on you, Joe. So
absolutely.
Let's go.
All right. So obviously, Vahagan, what seasons don't change your shooting at all for a lot of reasons. One, because the seasons don't change. You're fortunate in that. And I guess it doesn't really make a difference in the wedding industry, especially out there.
It kind of does.
Does it?
You got wedding seasons, like from December to probably February, March. There's really, that not that many weddings. And then it picks up. That's why they have WPPI when they do, because that's like
To
uh,
kick
it's
Off
not
off
season.
wedding season.
it's not considered wedding season. And then some religions, some churches, they close their altars for 2-3 months, and then they open them up at Easter. So that has to do with it as well. You can't get married. You could, but not at the church.
Gotta go to Vegas. They don't care.
Oh, yeah.
You could have somebody that looks like Elvis marry you if you're in Vegas, right?
Well, I'm looking forward to WPPI for a lot of reasons. And one of them just happens to be getting out of cold Connecticut and going out to Nevada. Even though I guess some out there might say, well, it's cold out here at that time of the year. It won't be for me.
Yeah.
Chuck in Nevada. Yeah. You gamble, Chuck?
No. I love playing cards. I used to have card games all the time, with friends or whatever. But that's about it.
Yeah. When I read your title of your live stream, I was like, okay, what are you shooting? I was like, with my cameras or my guns?
Mm.
Any hunters out here? No?
Used to be.
Oh, okay.
No. Gave that up to. Used to do a lot of bow hunting when I was in the Army down in Savannah, especially. But gave that up to.
Nikon makes some really cool scopes for guns.
Mm-hmm.
Can you record that? Can you record the EVF? Or the scope? That's cool. Turkey Day. So, yeah, man. Well, I don't know, man. We're not going to see anything else, I think, from Nikon till next year. What do you guys think? Nothing else?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I agree. At this point, springtime.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
That was a question a minute ago. Do you think we get a camera announcement in March, or are we going to get is there a camera going to be available in March? That's the question I guess we have now. That's all we got.
I think you're going to get a camera body and a lens combo, and it's going to be APS-C and 200 to 600. That's my feeling.
I'll tell you, if that APS-C, if that is what comes out and it's in that 30 to 36 megapixel range, I would consider that as another body myself.
Oh, it's got to. Hopefully, it's 36.
Yeah.
There you go. Carl says, yeah, they do make scopes that will record video.
Dude, I saw the most incredible bird picture on Facebook on one of the Z9 groups. And I was like, wow. It was shot on an 800 500 PF. And the lighting, I don't know the name of the bird, one of those small birds, but the lighting, the softness, just the image just blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
It was a basic picture of a little bird, but the image just rocked.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about this picture, it was like the most incredible bird picture I've ever seen. And the bird is just standing there. But the lighting was so unique and soft and incredible that I was
that
like,
500
wow.
PF on the Z9 is great.
That was the go-to lens when the Z9 was finally shipping, wasn't it? Man, every photo on.
Oh yeah.
on the social media was with that 500 PF.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up, Chuck. Let me see if I can find it.
All right.
Let's see.
Oh, it still holds its own very well.
It does.
So you think that they'll drop an APS-C body, pro body before, or do you think that'll come with a full frame body? Do you think they would just go ahead with the, let's just call it the Z90?
I think they should do. I
Well,
think they should do both at the same time. Be honest
yeah,
with you, one of each.
I think that's probably what you'll see is the, like the Z6 III or whatever, and some APS-C, and probably along with that 200 to 600. They've got to get that 200 to 600 out there. It's just been on that roadmap for so long, and you
Yeah.
just don't hear
and then
anything about it.
kick out the 85-1.2 at a minimum at the same time.
Yeah, I think you're going to definitely see that 85-1.2. I would imagine.
When Canon announced both the entry level and pro body APS-C cameras, the R7, R10, I just knew for sure that Nikon was going to follow up with some. And everybody says, well, I got beat up for that too. A lot of people said, camera companies Nikon doesn't follow other camera companies. Well, not true. They all follow each other. I mean, you typically you can watch it, what comes out. And everybody, between Canon, Sony, and Nikon, they all know what each other are producing and what they're going to come out with next. But I just assumed that at that time that, Nikon dropped the Z30. Well, we'll get a pro body APS-C as well. Well, I was wrong, but I really expected that to happen this year.
Hey Chuck, did you see that video I sent you about that filmmaker testing out the Z9?
Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. I had seen that before you sent it. It's interesting. And again, that's something that there should have been a whole lot of those videos back earlier this year in the spring, late spring. I think, just as you've said and other people have said, Nikon really didn't emphasize all the strengths of that camera, the Z9. They went into head-to-head battle with Sony and Canon over AF.
A lot of people are saying that when doing Z9 video, shooting it in flat picture profile, grading flat picture profile, even when you're just shooting 10-bit regular video, 4K 120 or whatever, that it's gradable. Like it's a good picture profile to shoot at,
Yeah.
And I've been hearing a lot of that, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is you don't have to be at minimum ISO 800 or whatever, You can be shooting it at 64, and the flat picture profile is cool. Where do you guys shoot your stills on? SD or just where do you set your picture profile? Well, you guys shoot RAW, but
I shoot raw, but my picture profile is set to just standard. That's all. And that's just basically just so you can see on the back of the screen,
do you tweak that picture profile, or do you just leave it as is?
It's just as is, straight out of the way it ships.
Okay. I like NL picture profile for some reason. NL works for me.
Yeah.
Even for video.
That last video I did, Vahagen, of the 400 with the deer and all that, that was all shot flat, and then I color graded it. And it's just 10-bit. I just shot it in 10-bit.
Yeah, 10-bit.
Cool. And it came out and it grades really nice.
What do you shoot with? Like you do 4K 120?
Yeah, 4K 120. And I don't know how to color grade anything. I'm not into it like that. But
when you edit it on your timeline, do you edit in like 24 or 30 or 60 or your final video?
My timeline is in it's in 30. I think that's what I have DaVinci set up for. because I do everything in DaVinci Resolve.
Some people shoot on 24, 25 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
Is that for Europe or something? The 25 frames per second, or
24? I thought I'm not a video guy, but I
one
think
is because the TV standards are different in Europe than they are in the U.S. So that's why you have the 24 and the 30, depending on where you're from.
yeah.
I like 24 frames per second. I like that more cinematic look.
yeah, that's typically what 24 was used for, was a cinematic look to your video. I don't shoot that way, but because most of the time I'm shooting at I'm always shooting at 120 because I'm typically gonna slow down birds and all that in my videos.
Right.
Now, what I like is that aspect ratio of cinema. Is it, help me out here, guys? Is it 185 by? You know what I mean? It's like more narrower than the regular screen.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. It depends because there are several formats that movies have been shot in, over the years.
Yeah, you got widescreen mode, 16:9, and you got different aspect ratios.
Yep.
There it is, Mozman. There it is. 185 one. Yeah.
Yep.
Does the Z9 shoot in that way, or you got to crop it in post?
I don't know. And how does that equate to? Maybe that's based on lenses too.
I don't remember seeing anything that you set up to pick those particular numbers that Mozman's talking about.
Because with anamorphic lenses, you have to de-squeeze, and there are different de-squeeze ratios. I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but yeah, that's where Frame Voyager comes in. I need to get him back in here to talk to us about some video stuff. He's an interesting character.
Mozman, 3-2, 1-1, 5-4, 16:9. So that's your choices
for the Z9. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Gustavo. Yeah, I have been able to match colors from the video to process stills. It's pretty easy in DaVinci Resolve to be able to do that. You can pull in any type of video and other processed images and kind of color grade your video to match it. It's pretty neat. But I don't do that a lot. Just I've played around with it.
Chuck, I'm trying to find that image.
Okay.
I'm just scrolling down.
Some good presentation.
Hey guys, hang on. Don't ignore the chat. I'll be right back. Mama just walked in.
So, Gustavo, what presentations did you watch on B&H Optic West? If you don't mind saying.
Man, I love this group. It's called Nikon Z9. You guys members of this Facebook group?
I am. Yep.
There's this one guy, Hoting Tan. He's shooting with that Z9. Man, so you probably seen this image. It's an ordinary image, but it just drew me in,
Are you talking? You're talking the one that's called Nikon Z9 Users Group.
No, it's just called Nikon Z9.
Oh, okay. Because there's another one called Nikon Z9 Users Group, so I might not be that.
And there's one called Nikon Z9 Pro something, which I'm a member of that too, but I can't find it, man. Too bad. This was an awesome shot. I thought was killer. Some of these guys shooting out here, man, they're just producing such awesome images, man.
Sleek Images is sharing what he shoots here since he's new on the channel here from North Central Illinois. Does everything, wildlife to astro to water drops. That's cool. Astro's the one thing I've never, it's the one thing I've never tried, and I don't really have what I consider a lens for that. I would have to get I'd look at getting a 20 millimeter 1.8 or something if I was going to get into astrophotography, but I just never gotten into it. I figure I get myself in enough trouble doing 3 or 4 other genres that I do. I can't afford any more genres.
I got a question for all you sports photographers. What's the hardest sport to photograph? You know, that brings you guys more challenges than anything. I think ice hockey would be pretty hard because it's just so fast.
Well, I mean, I would think even like soccer, because you got a long field, you got a lot of area to cover. Are you just going to stay in one spot, or are you going to try to follow the action? I guess that's what I'd like to know for people that do shoot sports. Do you typically pick 1 or 2 spots that you're going to go to and pretty much just stay there and wait for the action to come to you? Because I would imagine if you're trying to follow the action, you'd be worn out in about 10 minutes, but that's just my guess. But I'd like to know. I mean, when you watch the NFL games, it seems like all the photographers are obviously all huddled around each end zone, and that's pretty much it.
Plus, there's so much involved in that, like where you are, where's your angle, also like when you're shooting ice hockey, the white snow is not your friend, and you kind of have to like expose properly, so I've never shot ice hockey, but I can already imagine,
You mesh just saying boxing.
boxing would be fun.
Yeah, that would be neat to do boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get those tight shots.
Yeah, boxing would, and you know what? Boxing, it's fast. It's over in like matter of like what? Sometimes it's 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I've never gone to a boxing match in my life. I'm just curious. What do they charge for tickets for a boxing match? Well, typically, obviously not necessarily. I mean, obviously the headliners back in the Evander Holyfield Tyson days, I'm sure tickets were through the roof. But
Oh yeah.
what does it usually cost to go to a boxing event? I'm just curious.
No idea, but I'm talking about being up close as a photographer.
Yeah, Long Rider. We've got a guy in here that often submits photos of hockey.
Yeah.
I can't think of who it is.
He gets a lot of them from behind the net type shots.
Z-Wade.
Foot wrestling. Or thumb wrestling.
Noodling.
The foot wrestling, you just can't get that close because of the smell.
You have to get the anti-stink lenses.
Oh, man.
Okay, Joe Mack does a lot of sports. He says he tries to stay ahead of the action if the game's one-sided, and he stays at that end of the field.
Can I share something, Chuck? And this
Yes,
post,
sir.
actually, hold on. What happened to it? Oh, I think I lost it. Damn it. Hold on. I lost it. Sorry. Wait a minute.
All right, man. Dead air. I can see the director behind me going crazy. He's in my ear. Hey, dead air, dead air. You know what? I was at one time actually, and it was all John Deere equipment, but that's been many, many years ago. Yep. Soybeans, corn, got out of that and went into the farm, started raising bluegrass sod. More money.
Yeah. People want that green lawn.
Yep. So is anybody shooting anything coming up this week? I know a few people have talked about it. We got Huff Photo that's gone. He's working for a client today doing something. If he's still in here, I don't think James is still in here. I think he had to go, but I know he and Amar are making plans to go up to Conowingo Dam Sunday. I hope the weather's good Sunday because this crazy storm that's supposed to be climbing the coast.
Yeah, hopefully he's got my adapter, so hopefully he'll put that 200 to 600 on there and mess
Yeah.
around with it.
There we go. Yeah, bald eagle shoot this Sunday. Yeah, James, I hope the weather's good for you, man. I'm not so sure. I mean, there is a chance with that storm. It's kind of unpredictable right now, I guess.
Yeah, that would
Dave,
be cool to be there, man. That would be really nice to just hang out with those guys, you know?
Yep. Football Saturday, volleyball Friday night. Man, it sounds like you're busy, David, and that's good. Having a good time shooting.
Do you guys ever go to these groups, photography advice for true beginners?
No, I haven't. I haven't
On
seen
Facebook?
it. Mhm.
Yeah, and sometimes I like just scrolling on there and people posting, you know, shots and they want advice. And I just, you know, comment on some of them.
Mhm.
It's a really cool group on Facebook.
Joe, something about the beginning of where you're going would probably turn most people away when you say you're going to the swamp for 5 days.
Yeah, I would love to just show you this, but I don't think it'd be fair for the poster, so forget it. I won't.
I just got into that Z9 group.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mike Farwell shooting junior or something lined up for junior boxing next month. Cool. Until you go to South Padre. Yaman. Going to a flower garden, hopefully on Saturday or Sunday. Cool. Lots of colors and things to shoot in the flower garden. Cool.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Shooting dock dogs. Cal Jackson.
I want to see Amar and Rod over there. Amar probably talking James' head off. Amar's probably gonna fall in love with the Z9.
Yeah, Joe, let's see those pics of the moon, man. James, check your email.
No, I'm not gonna buy the ZFC. Rakesh.
So, Cal, dock dogs. These are the retrievers that run off the end of the dock. I guess they compete as to how far they jump or whatever. Pretty cool. I guess that's what it is. Waterfowl Festival in Easton, Maryland. That's cool.
So I have a question for Demoots and Jeffrey, because you guys shoot birds.
Yeah.
What? How do you I mean, if you were shooting that type of photography, what would you do to start making a buck from that? Like what? No, I mean, how
Don't,
what?
man.
Well, yeah, it's tough, but I tell you what I do and how I sell the most of my prints. That is through, and I think I've mentioned this before. You know, have you ever heard of the Nextdoor app? I post on there, and I have quite a bit on Facebook. And I'll tell you what, between those two is where I get most of my requests for prints. And it seems to be the best way. I mean, you're not going to get it off of a website and sell stuff like that. And I do photo shows around around where I live. So occasionally I sell stuff there when I have a showing.
You know
But
what I want to? You know what I'm interested in doing one photo, a one-off, and selling it for like a lot of money. You know, like art,
sure,
where you know instead of selling prints for $10, you know, get known and shoot and make these like really nice artistic pieces and
yeah,
just sell it here, like you know, $5,000, $6,000, like that guy. You know, is it hard to do? Is it you got to get your name out? You know,
yeah,
what is there buyers for that? You know, is there a market
But
for
there's
that?
there's always someone, but like some of the old National Geographic, former National Geographic photographers that I follow that do a lot of wildlife that are very well known, have written 20, 30 books in their lifetime. Those guys will sell prints only for $800 and up,
yeah,
just the print. But that is a unique individual that's traveled all over the world, has pictures from all over the world. Um, Totally different, life experience that those people have had versus, like, I hate to say, like somebody like Dave and myself. So
Well, I
um,
am gonna, after the photo show the other night and Sanjit calling in about that fine art photo I did, I am gonna do prints of that, and that will be. I'm gonna try to sell those, higher than what I typically sell prints for, and just see what I get, because that's not your typical wildlife shot that most of us are doing. So, fine art's a little bit. You tend to sell. It seems like you tend to sell a little bit more of those than just your regular snapshot of a bird or whatever. So
Yep.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And
you
that
have
is,
to see. You
it's a
have to
hard
see.
market if you're going to tell someone that they can make a good living doing it, because a lot of the good wildlife photographers make most of their money doing seminars,
Yeah.
teaching, doing arranging trips where they bring people to
Yeah.
Costa Rica to take
That,
pictures
to
of
be honest,
birds. That's where they
to
make
be
their
honest,
money. They don't make it with pictures.
yeah, that's where I make most of my money, is off of photography classes that I teach, specifically geared towards wildlife, and it's all just local stuff here.
Oh, you do that?
And what's that?
You do that? I didn't know you do
I
that.
do, yeah, I do.
Oh, cool. So
So
what are your classes like? How many people do you usually get? Like,
try to keep them on the smaller side, because that way you can, kind of do one-on-one with people. So I'll do, like the highest class size is probably 15, you know,
wow.
and
How do you
that's
get the word out?
through those two same, Facebook and Nextdoor. I tell you, you'll be surprised at how many people are looking for that, especially beginner photographers that are in a lot of these wildlife groups.
Mhm.
And they're just looking for a little bit of an edge on taking photography, or taking pictures. And so I do a little one-on-one with them, and I have a little presentation thing I did up, explaining, and I just explain about f-stop and all the normal stuff that you would explain teaching any photography class, but it's just geared towards wildlife.
How often
And
do you
I
do this?
and
I like Z. This is funny.
yeah, you guys want to know how I sell art?
yeah.
Chuck just borrows it. He doesn't steal it. He borrows it. It's a
Yeah.
loaner
Yeah.
fund.
Hey, David, how often do you do this?
Well, prior to COVID, I was doing them, you know, pretty regular. I'd have a couple classes. I mean, a couple classes a month was good for me. But then when COVID hit, that kind of nipped things in the bud for quite a while, and so I haven't had really that many to speak of since then. But I'm getting ready to, next year. I'm going to gear back up and start hammering those again, because really that's the kind of money, that's where you can make your money as a wildlife photographer, is teaching other people.
And what do you they usually run like per class or
So I do like $45 a person, depending on how long, or not per person, but $45 an hour per person. And then I sometimes I do a 2-hour class, and then sometimes it's only an hour class. Just depends on, I have like a more of an entry level class, and then I have a little more advanced class. So it depends on which class I'm running.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money, but it's, when you get 10 to 15 people, it adds up pretty quick. But, people aren't going to pay a ton of money to come sit in the class anyway. So I try to keep it, and it all depends on your market, where you're at, on what you can get away with.
Yeah.
I've taken a few clients out one-on-one and taken them out in the field with me. And, when you can do that one, you can get quite a bit more money out of, because you're just dedicating the whole day to just one person.
Food and drinks on you or what?
I have. Yeah, I've done it. Taken them to lunch. Yeah.
Like Mosman's comment, you could spend lots of money to take a trip to learn how to take your own unsaleable photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
There has to be another avenue for you guys, an avenue that you haven't thought of in this industry that hasn't been tapped into yet. I'm sure there is. I'm not talking about National Geographic or all those.
No. Yeah.
But there's got to be something out there that no one's thought of yet.
Well, the problem is, even like I said, even those guys like I follow, Art Wolf and people like that, and who've been shooting for decades. And like I said, they make most of their money, they've got $15,000 trips to Africa and Alaska to take pictures of the bears and the eagles and stuff like that. And that's where they're making their money. I mean, they sell prints, and their prints aren't cheap, but they're big prints. They're not like selling you a 20 by 30 for $1,000. I mean, they're really big prints, but they have name recognition. They've been doing it for 50 years, 60 years. So, I don't know of too many average Joes that are, that are making a lot of money selling their prints. I sell a few here or there. I'm sure David sells more than I do, but I would never look. If I had to live off of it, I'd be eating a lot of Cheerios for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I tell you what, too, I donate a lot of photos to one of our local community centers here, and they give them away at their like bingos and stuff like that as prizes. And, and it'll have my card or whatever with it. And I get some repeat business from that as well. So sometimes you got to give stuff away to make money.
Hey, look at Gustavo's comment.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, David, what area are you from again? Kansas?
I mean, just out of downtown Kansas City on the Kansas side.
All right. That market is dead.
Maybe you could do bird bodyscapes with Z-Wade.
You know what you guys can do is advertise to shoot people's pets.
Like I've thought about getting into that.
A pet photographer.
Yeah. My wife bugs me all the time. She says, why don't you do weddings? Why don't you do pets? Why don't you go? I don't want to do that. It's not what I want to do. I says, what I want to do, I make goose eggs, but I like what I do. So, I mean, I just keep doing it. But she says my hobby, and I agree with her. She says to me one night, she looks at me and she says, your hobby is way too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cheaper if I was into skiing, I guess, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, if I was in a different area where I could take people on, some type of bigger outing. I went to Tetons last year, and I went out with Steve Mathis, and my wife paid for that for our anniversary, and it was a lot of fun. And I looked at it this way. I paid him to take us around for a day, but I also got to learn a lot of different locations to go shoot the next time I'm in the Tetons. So I don't know if you've ever seen his work. He does a lot of work based out of the Tetons. He's really good if you look him up on YouTube. But I had a good time with him, and that's, a lot of these photographers, that's how they make their money, is taking clients out on shoots.
Hey, question for you guys: what if you go out somewhere remote, like wilderness, trying to capture the bears or birds, hawks, eagles, whatever? Do you guys go out? Do you guys go out alone, or do you guys take somebody with you? Is it dangerous? What are some of the dangers that you want to stay away from or watch out for?
Well, I haven't. I mean, other than like Tetons and some of the Rocky Mountain, the National Forest, my wife's usually with me because she shoots alongside me. So it's usually the two of us. We've never been in anything dangerous. You take the bear spray with you if you have to. Depending on where you're at. Most everything around here where I live, there's no risk. So, but yeah, I have, depending on where I'm at, I'll always have at least bear spray.
That boy's shooting Nikon. Welcome to the show, man. First time I've seen you in here.
My only dangerous thing, I guess, would be the alligators, and I've had them within 2 feet of my legs, not intentionally, but I've had, they've gotten close. They can get close,
Yeah.
But I don't, I don't go there scared or anything. And there's a lot of people that would love to capture me getting dragged in the water and put it on YouTube. So I got a lot of photographers hanging around me that they wouldn't help me. They would just film it. Film it and then give it to my wife and say, this was your husband's last moments on earth. We thought you'd like the video, but yeah, sometimes, you're focusing on something with your camera, and on that main road that I always talk about, the causeway, the gators go from the pond side to the marsh side, and they use the crosswalk just like a person does because they can't fit under the guardrails. So they use the crosswalk. So if you're standing there at the end of the crosswalk on a sidewalk and you're focusing out there, you could turn your head and look down and a gator's right next to you trying to get in the water. But, he's more interested in getting in the water, thankfully. But, if he wanted to eat you or bite you, he definitely could. I mean, more than one occasion, they've been pretty darn close.
Hey, but
I worry.
Look at Z-Wait's comment there.
Yeah, that is true for Wichita.
But that brings up a good point, like where David said about taking his wife. Do you guys ever go out alone to a place where you've never been, out in a remote area where you have to hike it?
Yeah, we camp. So when we go out, my wife and I have always been campers. So we go out and we either have a trailer or we'll pitch tents. So,
well, that's you guys, but I'm talking about, because a lot of times you just want to go out and shoot. You know what I mean? You don't want to, you don't want to take anybody because no one's available. But it's so much, like, sometimes you gotta, like, oh, they're hungry. Okay, we can't shoot. But when you're alone, you can pretty much, you don't have to deal with all that.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever go at it alone somewhere you've never been?
I really haven't.
Not a lot. I mean, not for wildlife photography. I mean, I'll drive out in the country and do casual shooting of farms and stuff like that. But the worst thing that happens there is I'm taking a picture of something interesting off the side of the road, and the owner comes running out at me because he doesn't want me taking a picture of his old gas station or his old barn, and says, "What are you doing here?" And I'm on the side of the road. I'm not on the guy's property. I've had that happen a few times. I mean, really get angry. Don't take pictures of my property. I mean, that's how bad it is now.
Yeah.
Even though you're not doing anything wrong. I mean, you're waiting for them to come down the stairs with a pitchfork. I mean, people are not very nice anymore. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I've been to places by myself and shooting and all that, but nothing I would consider sketchy or scary. Yeah. I tell you what I worry about more than anything is, depending on where I'm shooting at around here, is people see what you have and they may follow you home.
That's what I'm trying to say too.
Yeah.
Like, mugged or.
Yeah. Well, when I did my night video on doing night photography, I went with my friend who's an ex-cop, and let's just say he was prepared for anything. I was not gonna walk in the areas I walk to at night by myself. Just was not gonna do it. It's just not, like you said. Part of it is you're walking around with this gear, nice tripod. Somebody's gonna thump you on the head and take your stuff, and that's it. So certain areas, no way am I gonna go by myself. I'm gonna have somebody with me.
Well,
Hey,
there's been several photographers. I mean, you've probably seen stuff on YouTube about it that people have been followed home, get their stuff stolen. Heck, they get them stolen right at an intersection. They'll
yeah.
pull up, break their windows out, and grab all their bags and whatever.
Hey, Chuck,
Yeah.
you're talking about, you're having $25,000 worth of gear right there,
Yeah.
alone. It's like that's
Yeah.
a big risk, man.
Yeah.
It is.
No, it absolutely is. But everybody it feels differently about it. I think a lot of people are concerned now, especially in built up areas. If you're flashing cameras and things around, obviously there are people there that want them and may try to take them from you. Um, but I don't know, man. I choose not to live in fear. And things are going to happen. I won't put myself in a position that, as a target, I'm not going to do that, or in a position to be a target for anybody. But, you gotta, enjoy life. You can't be afraid of everything.
Yeah.
I think Vaughan, after you made a comment there about talking about, theft and being mugged or whatever, everybody was thinking you were talking about being out in the field by yourself or whatever.
Well, that's what I was originally thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think about it a lot. You're out there with like, the other day I was out with a 400 TC and a Z9. That's 20 grand right there of
Yep.
stuff almost.
Yep.
And, but, I'd like to think that I have pretty good situational awareness.
Yeah.
So I keep my eye out for stuff like that. I mean, I come from a law enforcement family. I'm former law enforcement as well. So, I'd like to think that I'm prepared enough.
Well, I joked with my friend when we were shooting at night. I got the spikes on my tripod feet. I just got to twist the rubber, tighten up the rubber part and let the spikes stick out. And I stick that up somebody's, what? They ain't going to come near me. And I got the length advantage with the tripod. So I could do some damage pretty good to somebody if I have to.
Hey, Chuck,
Yeah.
can I comment on what Jeffrey said earlier?
Yeah. I don't know which comment he made, but
'Cause-
go ahead.
No, because if I don't do it now, I'll forget.
Okay. Go ahead.
He mentioned something where he sometimes when he goes and shoots at like a barn or whatever, and he feels
Mhm.
weird shooting it or somebody
Yeah.
coming out. That's like a very challenging thing to overcome. Is how do you like not feel weird, especially when you're shooting street photography and you're pointing the camera at people walking? Like, do you guys feel weird sometimes, like doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't mind doing it, but I have had encounters though. Like I swear, I'm not lying. I mean, I was with my friend and he was near the car,
Good.
and this guy ran
Mhm.
downstairs and came at me and said, "What are you doing taking pictures of my gas station?" Now I had already taken the pictures, and I diffused him. I calmed him down. I said, "Look," I like to take pictures of old buildings. I'm not on your property. I find your gas station very interesting from a photography point of view, and I just am capturing an image that brings me some I just find really interesting, and it
He
calmed
thought
the guy down a little bit, but he followed me back to my car.
he thought
He
you
was
were
not going to let me take any more pictures.
he thought you were from the government or something,
I don't
from the
know.
property tax board.
Yeah.
I've taken pictures of people's properties and barns and stuff before while I'm out looking for wildlife. But I tell you, there's a lot of I've approached people and just said, "Hey, do you mind?" I've asked, and most of the time, if you do it that way, there's no issue. But then I've had some people that said, "Heck no, I don't want you doing, I don't want you doing that." and I just move on instead of trying to create any conflict. There's no sense in.
Welcome in here, Sebastian, and feel free to drop in the comments in the chat and join the conversation.
Yeah, Ray makes a comment. It's getting worse in the UK as street photography goes. Some reason, and this is true too, some reason people think it's illegal. People try to say you can't take a picture of that building, or you can't take a picture. People could go right across the street and take a picture of my house, and legally there isn't a darn thing I can do about it. It's not illegal to take a picture of somebody's house as long as you're not on their property. But people seem to think that, oh, you're breaking the law. And people are now more angry than ever. So it's like Dave says, if I see somebody on their property and they have an interesting structure on their lawn, you approach them and you ask them. But sometimes you're taking the picture and then they notice you after a few minutes and then they come out after you. And that's a tough one to deal with because you don't know if the guy's got a gun on him or whatever. You don't know.
All this brings up a good. It reminds me of something. You know what? That might be something for someone to do, to actually put together a good situational awareness class. I mean, we do it in the military all the time, especially in some of the other things that we do. There are, a lot of aspects to that, but just being able to read the crowd. I think I've said that before, and this is where it comes from is situational awareness, being able to read the crowd. You can, because Mozman talked about being careful not to put yourself in bad situations. Well, how do you know it's a bad situation? And I know a lot of people say, well, people are walking around with guns in their hand or clubs. Yeah, I get that. But there are bad situations you can walk into that you don't initially feel threatened. But there are signs, there are signals, there are things to look for. And that might be a good thing for photographers to, maybe somebody ought to put that together for photographers nowadays. Situational awareness, and it extends beyond photography. Don't get me wrong. I've got a buddy down in Florida now that's teaching something similar. But just a situational awareness class may protect you when you're out shooting, doing street photography, or even out and doing landscape or whatever in the middle of nowhere.
That's a good point. I might actually incorporate that in when I start my classes back up. Yeah. That's a good point, Chuck. I might actually incorporate that into there.
Yeah, good point, Chuck. And then Robert Varner is funny, man. He's like, I had people yell at me in New York while doing street photography. That's like, I think if you could get over that invading someone's space feeling when taking a street photography shot, that's like, you need talent to do that because it takes some nerves of steel and some balls. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why most people that make a living doing street photography aren't shooting with big cameras. They're using Leicas or something small, something
black CFZs.
Yeah, something that they could just take out of their pocket, take the picture, put it back in their pocket. That's or using a Fuji, something small and compact that they can hide easily. That doesn't stand out in a crowd. A Z9, even with a pancake lens on it, is still something everybody's going to see. So not your best street photography camera for not being observed.
Hey, David, if you're going to do that, I would suggest that you do some research on that because there are certain things to look for and people don't normally think to look for them. And one of the things that we used to talk about all the time is, those kids games, what doesn't belong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But understanding what to look for, meaning what doesn't belong, it goes a long way. We go down to New York City from time to time. My wife loves to go down there. And I went down with my stepdaughter once and she said, well, how do you know how to get back to where we're parked? I said, because one of the things you do is you turn around and look at where you're parked as you're walking away, because that's the view you're going to have of it as you walk back.
Yeah.
But then she was asking me about certain things. I would say, no, let's move away. Let's not go over here, because there are things that stand out. It's just not normal. Why is this person doing this? It's not common for the crowd that he's in. and things like that. But anyway, researching that, I think it'd be great for photographers, especially those that want to go do street photography in a major metropolitan area, especially nowadays.
And a big part of situational awareness too, in not becoming a victim, is how you present yourself when you're out walking around. If you look like you're paying attention to things, you're less likely to be attacked and become a victim
Oh yeah, yeah,
than
absolutely.
if you have your head down and you're just not. So I've always been that way. When I'm out and about, I'm constantly
Head on a
looking at.
swivel. Yep.
Yeah, I'm always just alert and looking at everything. I'm not paranoid. I've just always been that way.
But you're absolutely right. Don't look like a victim. Don't
Yeah.
act like a victim.
Yeah, but
Because then go ahead, Vog.
when you're composing a shot, looking at in a viewfinder, you have
Yeah.
you got to
Well,
do that.
But what we're talking about is knowing before you are looking through a viewfinder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
understanding your environment before you begin doing anything like that.
well,
So yeah, but you're right. Anything can happen, Vaughan, but don't look like a victim is number one on the list. And how do you do that? Well, that's where all the instruction for situational awareness begins.
yeah, Jeffrey pointed out that use a little small camera, dude. Back in the day, and I bring up that lady that's nanny that did all the street photography. I forget her name, but anyway, she had Rolleiflex, man, and she would get in front of people's faces, thugs, people that are dangerous. She didn't care. She would take portraits of them. Like, it's crazy, dude.
Jay Maisel down in New York City talks about it a lot. He's a huge street photographer, and there are ways to go about being a street photographer, not being the nondescript, trying to hide and catch moments. He becomes friends with, not literally, but partners up or snuggles up to people in the sense that he's talking to them and everything else to loosen the situation up and taking photos. And he's talking about getting right up in their face, just as you were saying, Vahagan. He says that's where street photography thrives, is being up close and in the middle of the situation. Now that may not be for everybody, but he makes a good point. I don't know if you guys have ever watched him. He's been on B&H quite a few times in their instruction room or whatever they call it there, the event space. But that's something good to listen to for street photography. But the thing about street photography is, and everybody's talking about it, I do. I was down doing street photography, and if somebody happened to turn and look as I'm taking a photo, I kind of feel guilty, like I've stolen from them, or are they going to come over here and complain? But knowing your rights up front makes a big difference, because then you know what you can and can't do, and then taking the photo and probably going and talking to the people. And a lot of the street photographers will talk about that. Offer them a print, or not a print maybe, but a digital copy of whatever you're taking.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about street photography is that when you talk to them beforehand, if you tell people that say cheese, the
Yeah.
look is different. But when you
It is.
capture it beforehand without
Yeah.
them knowing, it's just a whole special thing. It's a whole special look. Maybe
Now,
afterwards, show them if you have a problem. If you have a problem with somebody after you've taken their picture without them knowing, and then they approach you, hey man, did you take my picture? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing street photography. Hey, check it out. By the way, didn't it come out really good? Do you have an email? I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
That's how you
no,
diffuse the situation.
absolutely. In Sebastian here talking about in Poland, street photography is pointless. You can take a picture, but you cannot publish it anywhere. People just get away with it because very little chance people find themselves on the picture. Well, here in America, and actually, there around the country, there are some different standards. But anybody in public place, and I'm not going to play the lawyer here and try to explain that, or
Yeah.
even act as if I know all the ins and outs of it. But anybody in a public place is subject to, somebody taking a photo or whatever. You can't sell that photo, but you can publish the photo. When I say publish, share it. I'm social media, but you can't sell that photo unless you get a model release or subject release or whatever from the person that you took. So it's a little bit different for us, but still people are going to challenge you and they're going to say, you can't do that. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I can, but know the law. And that's something everybody that's going to go out in public and shoot street photography, I would encourage you definitely check out the law and make sure you understand it so that when you're out there, you don't get in a situation where, maybe you are doing something. Maybe there's an ordinance in the town that you're shooting in, and there could be that limits where you can shoot and when you can shoot or whatever. But yeah, knowing the law is the first step. But everybody in public is there. That's drones. Remember when drones came out and all the people that lived near somebody that had a drone were saying that's invasion of my public or my private space because they can fly over my house. And that was
Yeah.
the big concern is, drones would be peeking in windows and whatever. So there are, you can actually shoot above and look down and do all that. But I think that you might not get away with a drone hovering outside of your neighbor's window, bathroom window or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, can I tell a little story?
Yeah.
My friend, street photographer, he does street photography. He told me the story. It was hilarious, man. So he was taking pictures. I forget where, but it was an old town kind of area where people hang out, have coffee, restaurants, whatever. And it's a nice little town. Anyway, he was taking picture of the street. Couple walking by, man and a woman, takes a picture of them. The lighting was right, everything was perfect. So the guy comes up to to him and says, "Hey, man," he goes, "Did you just take a picture of us?" He's like, "Yeah, you were in the shot. I'm doing street photography." He started getting very, very nervous. He said, "Hey, man, please delete this picture." And he goes, "Why?" My friend, he knows the law. I guess he didn't want to delete it. And he's like, "Well, I'm not gonna delete it." He's like, "Please delete it. Where are you gonna post this picture?" So it turns out that they go back and forth. It turns out the guy was cheating on his wife, and he's out with his girlfriend. And yeah, he explained it to the photographer. He goes, "Please, I'm doing this. I'm not supposed to be here. Just delete it." Yeah. So he understood. He said he just deleted it. So
Interesting.
Well, Ray just said something there triggered my memory too on, talking about photos in public. I mean, the authorities, how many photos a day do they take of people with all the street cams that they have
Yeah.
up now? And look, they have to follow the law too. But anyway, just know your rights as a photographer.
Well, there's no expectation of privacy when you're in the public.
Right.
And as a photographer, a lot of it depends on where you're standing. If you're in
And,
any public right of way, you're good to go. If you're on private property, it's a whole different ball game.
and don't assume that the sidewalk is public
Correct. Not all the
property.
time. Some
Yeah.
people own sidewalks in front of
Yep.
their business or
Yep.
whatever.
A lot of comments. This would be a good subject. I wish I could find an authority.
Somebody down here had a comment about insurance on camera gear.
Hey, good.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. I do have insurance on all my gear, and it's called a inland marine policy, and you can get it through your homeowner's insurance, and it's really cheap. And it covers drops, accidents, whatever. I've had to use it before. It's really good. It's called an inland marine policy.
Yeah, that is a good discussion to have. I wish I could find somebody that could come in and or would come in and talk about that. An insurance person, because a lot of times, a lot of people, and they're making a big mistake, in my opinion. They decide, I've got a camera, I've done extremely well. Everybody talks about how good that my photos are, and yada yada yada, and maybe that's the case. But then they're gonna, well, I'm gonna go out and shoot some people for some money or whatever, a client that they've picked up or talked to or whatever. And I'm telling you, if you go out and you shoot and somebody gets hurt because they trip over an extension cord for your lights or your battery charging, or they trip over a light stand or something like that, or your light stand blows over and hits the
Yeah.
model in the head, and she's got to get a couple of stitches, that wouldn't be good. If you're not insured, get ready,
Yeah.
because it may cost you a lot. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody. I've not been there. I've sort of been there where, luckily for me, it was determined it wasn't my fault, but I got lucky. Okay. And lucky is not what you want to count on. Where somebody tripped over an extension cord or a power cord for my computer in a hotel lobby. But I had asked the people there, where can I plug in my laptop? And they came over and they actually plugged it in. So I don't know how this would have held up in court. Anyway, an old man came by, tripped over the cord, and fell down. It didn't hurt him, but it bruised his head, where his head hit the floor and whatever. But the hotel assumed responsibility for that, I guess, because they plugged my computer in for me. So what I'm getting at is, it is serious. It is real.
Yeah.
It's not a scare tactic or to scare you or anything, but just be careful. Especially if you're a business, so, and I know, Vahagan, you could speak to this as far as insurance for your business and everything else, but a lot of people just blow that off, and they don't know how bad that could hurt them down the road.
No, it's a liability $1 million coverage when you're
Yep.
doing weddings. But I've had actually a wedding photographer friend, that the bride was making up all kinds of stories, saying that she got hurt because of a gear just to get out of the bill.
Yeah.
So be careful of that, because you might, have somebody just pretend to be hurt, or
Yeah.
so. Yeah, insurance is good, but hey, that'd be great, Chuck, if you could have somebody that's like knows the laws of street photography.
Yeah.
That'd be an awesome show, like, because I really want to ask him questions.
Yeah. And Rakesh just asked a question, and I can't answer that, but and this is where you get in trouble too. You listen to somebody and they say, well, they can't do that. They can't make you do that. Well, I don't know if they can or they can't, and I'm sure they probably can't. But what do you do if it's a police officer they drug over there? Hey, he just took my photo, and I don't want him to have it in his camera. Now, where do you go? Because I guarantee you, the police officer's not going to be up to speed on the laws that protect a photographer or whatever.
No,
So,
most of them aren't. And I
and
tell you what, too, a lot of it depends on what you're taking a picture of. If you're sitting there across from some playground and you're snapping photos of kids, you're going to get, somebody's going to say something, and you're going to get a visit by the police, and
yeah.
they may they may make you show them the pictures, and you may be legally right to do it too, because it's all in public and you're on public property. But you got to be careful what you're doing out there and what you're shooting.
Yeah, if you're like you said, if you're in the middle of a town square that has a beautiful fountain that people throw money in and people gather around there, and
there's kids around it and so forth, or whatever.
that's a little different, because you could say, I'm taking a picture of this great looking fountain with the museum in the background or whatever, and that's totally different. But like you said, you're taking pictures of kids on a playground.
There's so
or
many,
not, you're going to get questioned.
There's so many stories about things like this. You're right, and we could go on, and I don't mind talking about it. Again, I'm not an expert. I can't answer your question, Rakesh. Every situation is going to be a bit different depending on where you are and everything else as to whether you would have to. But don't be a photographer and you're innocent, and get the long lens out and go out to a park somewhere where their kids are playing soccer and start taking photos of kids playing soccer. You're going to get called out. And I guess rightly so. You'd have to put yourself in the parents' position.
Yeah.
But if they ask you, do you have a child here, and you play the game, well, I don't have to answer that question. Well, get ready. There may be a cop show up next.
Now, what if you're hired by one of the kids' parents?
Different.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that because a friend of mine he had a place in Florida, he had a place down here in Myrtle Beach. He'd go to Florida and his grandchildren played soccer. He'd go to the soccer games with his long lens, take pictures of the granddaughter playing soccer. And at first, the parents would look at him and he was getting that look like, what are you doing taking pictures of my kids? And so he literally turned around and said, that's my granddaughter over there, when they realized that he was taking pictures of his granddaughter. And then he showed them some of the pictures. Then it flipped the other way around and he was there all the time. And he said, can you take some pictures of my kids? I'll buy them from you.
Yeah.
So he actually started making some money taking pictures of other people's kids playing soccer.
Just last week, I went to the playground with my grandson and, I took the Z9 and a 50 mil on there and was taking pics of him. But, heck, I felt weird being there doing it because there was nobody else there with big cameras. Everybody's using their phones. But I wanted, something more than just the phone pic. And nobody approached me or said anything, but, I guess it's how comfortable you feel too. If you're there with the relative or whatever, if you get hired to do something like that. But, it did feel weird because I felt like people were looking at me, but nobody said anything.
I mean, with Rakesh's question here, I mean, if I felt threatened in any way, those photos aren't worth my life. I would delete it, put it that way, because realistically, any identifiable person in a street photography shot, I mean, here's where the law gets muddy. Some people think one way, some people think another, but most of the time, if you're using it for a newspaper or a news publication, you don't have to get permission. You don't have to get model releases. But if you're taking pictures of a couple, let's say sitting on a park bench or something, you think it's a cute picture, they're identifiable people, they could say, hey, you got to have a model release. You can't print it and make money off that image. And that's one reason I don't do I do street photography. I try to get it where the people aren't easily identifiable. And I'm not trying to sell those images either.
But
be part of my portfolio, but I'm not trying to sell those images.
Yeah, but what if, even in the old days it was like this? Because what if that image ends up in the museum or something?
If you're a photojournalist and you work for a newspaper, the rules are totally different because you're publishing it in a newspaper or a magazine as news, and the rules for those people are different than the rules for you and I that might take that same image and say, oh, that would be a great picture to sell on my own and make money off of. It's totally different.
Yeah, I've got a photo I took down in New York City, and so many people after I took that photo wanted that photo. They wanted to buy a print. I can't sell them a print. I can give them a print, but I can't sell them a print because I don't have a release. And it was just a drive-by. I happened to catch a photo that was very, well, a lot of women loved the photo. It's just of a guy standing on the corner leaning against a mailbox smoking a cigarette, and it looks like a old Marlboro commercial. I mean, it just is, it was one of those perfect timing, not on my part, just the fact that it just happened that way. But I can't do anything with that photo. So you're right. If it was news, I could post it as something to do with the news or media or something like that. That's fine. But Rakesh, I'm sorry, Sebastian just posted this, well, probably a little while ago. That's how far behind I am here. If people in your picture are not the main subject, you are fine because of the panorama rule. I don't know what that is, Sebastian, but I'm not so sure that works here, at least. Yeah. Because you'll notice there are times, even in commercials, where people's faces are blurred out.
Yeah.
And that's for a reason, because you can't reveal their identity for something that you're selling or whatever. And they just, one of two things happened. And my guess is they couldn't find that person after they walked through the shot for the commercial, or that person wouldn't give them a release to have their identity in the commercial. So Yeah,
But
this is a complicated subject, actually. And what I
Yeah.
don't want people to walk away with is listening to any of us and saying, "Well, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no."
No.
but wait a minute, wait a minute.
Go
What
ahead.
makes you a photojournalist and I'm not a photojournalist?
Well, you can be
What? Because
you're a photojournalist. You're carrying an ID. You know, you work for
well.
AP or you work for a
Well, no, no,
newspaper.
no. You don't
No.
even have to be. It's how you use the photo.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah, how
using
you
it,
use it.
sending
You
it to
could
the newspaper, nothing wrong with that.
Right.
you could have your own YouTube channel that's not you produce photojournalistic news.
Yeah, that's
You know?
fine. Right. That's fine. But you
And
can't
you don't
sell it. You can't sell it, the image. That's the thing. Without a model release. And Michael says, well, where do you find a release form? I have a model release form that I've had for years. But you
you
can
can
find
find
you can find model release forms on the internet
Oh,
Google
yeah.
it.
that are
and
free.
You'll find
You Google it.
10,000.
Yeah, they're all over the place. They're not hard to find.
So all the prints that the curator for Vivian Meyer, where she took all these pictures of random people, and he's selling these prints. These are all illegal. I'm sure she doesn't have.
I don't
I'm sure he doesn't have the model
Yeah.
releases for
I
everybody.
don't think it is. I mean, this is where you need
Yeah.
somebody that knows the law on this stuff, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, because if you're in a public space,
That's right.
you're fine. I don't know, but what about all the paparazzis? What is their excuse?
They're selling it to their what if they want to call their magazine a news
Yep.
magazine. That's why they
Yeah.
get. I'd say it's a news
How loose
magazine.
is that?
Really
Yeah, how
loosely.
loose is that? I
That's
don't
pretty
know. I don't
loose.
know. These are good questions, man. And now I'm thinking, how do I find somebody that can answer these questions?
But famous people do go after these paparazzi and their magazines they work for, and they try to block it or they sue them. They do get sued and win sometimes. I mean,
Yes.
Well,
So that's the other thing. And Sebastian was talking about that earlier. You can take a chance,
yeah.
and most of the time you're probably going to get away with it because if you got a person in the background and or whatever of a photo, the chances of them ever seeing that photo are 1 in a bajillion. So, but I don't know. These are great questions, man. And I definitely need to research this and see if we can find somebody that would be willing to come in and answer these questions.
Yeah, that would be good on your channel. You get a lawyer that practices law and represents photographers and interview them. That would be a cool thing.
So Ray's talking about real quick here, and then I got to run out and tell my brother he's got to stop mowing the grass right in front of the house. In the UK, only the court can make you delete a photo. Even the police cannot make you delete a photo, but they try due to their lack of knowledge, and that's what you're going to be up against, even in America too.
Oh yeah.
They don't know this. They don't know the laws either, but they're going to err on the side of the supposed victim.
The perceived issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
And they err that way. And then they say, well, we'll just let the courts figure it out.
And then you have to decide how much trouble do you want to start by fighting that right there. If there's a demand, do you delete the photo? Or do you want to go down the road of, and guess what? It isn't cheap and it's not fun and whatever. But, if you're one of those people that really want to fight it, to fight the system, then that, I guess you do. But you're not going to let them delete a photo. Me, it probably wasn't a good photo to begin with. Here you go. It's deleted. You happy?
Yeah, it's just probably not worth the hassle.
But
Mozman's last comment here is probably that, that's the way I look at it. You can sell their photo of somebody in public, but, commercially or however with a product, that's a different story.
Yeah,
Well, that's the
Pepsi-
thing. If you
Pepsi
sell it,
doing
one
it.
can argue then you're making commercial use of the photo. That's the problem. You made money off of it, then it's commercial. That's what someone would say. It's just like almost not worth the headaches. It really.
Again, that's just it, and we can get in here and we can see what we think are cracks in the law or the system or whatever, and throw all the what ifs at it. And I don't know. and I definitely wouldn't want to provide anybody any guidance on, yeah, man, go
Yeah,
do it.
no. But we need a disclaimer at the bottom here, Chuck.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I mean,
But they're
I
valid
put
questions and they may be correct. Like Vaughan's saying, well, how come he can and
Yeah.
he can't or whatever? That's
Yeah.
a great question.
we need to get a lawyer in here.
Yep. Go ahead, Vaughan. I'm gonna run tell my brother to shut this stupid. Well, it's the weed eater.
I don't even hear it, Chuck. I don't even hear
I
it.
don't hear it either.
You do, but I don't
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah, I don't hear it at all.
Well, he's at the edge of he's out by the road, but he'll be up here. All right, let me tell him real quick. I'll be right back.
No, this is a very interesting subject, man, because there's a lot of just a lot of things to address because we don't know. I mean, what if a guy ends up in one of your YouTube videos in the back and he has a problem with it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so that's a good question. But hey, Jeffrey, when you're shooting houses or barns, it's funny, man. Some people come out and look at you funny, and then like,
Oh,
what are you
yeah.
doing, man?
Yeah,
Why
like
you
I'm
getting-
break the place or something. I don't know. So I just have that. I have that look of a terrorist, I guess, because I used to get patted down at the airlines a lot when we traveled. My wife would go through, no problem. They'd pull me aside and pat me down. So I guess I just look like a terrorist, you know.
Hey, I've had people approach me because I was taking pictures of birds on barbed wire fences, and this is like in their front yards, and I'm just on the street. And I've had people approach me, and come chase me down. What are you doing? Taking pictures of my house. And I'll be like, I'm not taking pictures of your house. I'm taking pictures of the scissor tail bird on your barbed wire fence. It's crazy. You just got to pick your battles on what you're doing.
Well,
what about this situation? Okay, you see a nice house, right? It's beautiful. You're on the sidewalk with like your portrait subject, whatever. You're taking portraits of her using their house as a background. Now, the house is blurred out, kind of, bokeh,
Yeah.
but she's on the sidewalk. She's not on their property, but your camera's pointed towards their house.
well, legally,
What about that?
about it. They could
Huh?
take you could take a perfectly crisp picture of somebody's house as
Yeah.
long as you're on city-owned property, you're not on their personal property, and there's nothing they could do about it other than try to do something about it, but legally they can't.
Yeah.
That
Legally,
I've had so many people come out and say, "Hey, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, oh yeah, because people are
don't use
paranoid.
my house as a backdrop."
They probably think that you're taking pictures of their house to figure out how you're going to break in 3 days later and rob them or something, because everybody's so paranoid nowadays.
Heck, I mean, the county appraiser people take pictures of your houses, every so many years. Google, like Mosman pointed out, Google Street View, so as long as you're in the public right away.
If you do portraits of people and sometimes you see a nice backdrop that's a house that looks really nice,
Yeah. Yeah.
the owner of the house might have an issue with that. Come out and say, "Hey, huh?"
They don't have they don't have any legal grounds, but the problem is that you want to deal with how you want to deal with that irate person. That's really what you're dealing with. But legally, they don't have an argument.
No, they just don't want their house to be used as a photo shoot. You know what I mean? We're on the sidewalk, but the lens is pointed towards their house.
Yeah.
And they feel uncomfortable. You know how
like
many
Jeffrey
times
said,
people have come out? They've came out and told me stuff. I was shooting a model right in front of the house.
I like Zahari's comment here. Ask Nikon for a firmware update for a street shooting option. It saves a shadow copy when you delete it in front of a disgruntled person.
Well, that's what your backup card's for.
Yeah.
Hey, especially in San Francisco, places like that where the sidewalk and the door is like right there.
Yeah.
All the houses are so close together that it's like, some people have issues with that, but they're nice spots to shoot at.
Yeah, you go and have it so you save a copy on both cards, and then you only delete it off the one. That's a good trick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've been approached by people shooting birds towards their houses. I have yet to ever delete a photo. Most of the times, if you explain what you're doing, they're okay. But I've had some people that are just angry and don't want to deal with you, and I just leave. At that point.
Well, I did a YouTube video, and I showed a bunch of different types of stuff that I've taken pictures of over the years, and I wanted to put in a picture of a bride that I took. It was my wife's best friend's daughter's wedding. I shot her wedding years ago, and I said, "Do you mind if?" And I actually contacted my wife's. We're mutual friends. I called her up, and I said, "Can you ask your daughter if she's okay with me putting a picture of her in her wedding gown on my YouTube channel?" So, I mean, I probably didn't have to do that, but I thought it was the polite thing to do, and she had no problem with it. So I put it in the video, but
Hey,
I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and the laws could be different from state to state too. I mean, you don't know. I mean, I've tried to read up on the laws for street photography quite a few times, and there's so many differing opinions out there that after a while you just get a headache. You're like, you want to talk to someone who can be definitive about what you can or cannot do, and it seems like it's a little bit grayer than it should be. It shouldn't be that complicated.
Yeah,
hey,
and
good.
go ahead, V.
I'm just gonna answer Gustavo's question. All those shots you saw in that review or whatever I was doing, those were all shot on the sidewalk. So yes, I did get the owner of the house kind of looking at me funny, but well, those were different houses. But she was looking at me, and then she realized I was taking pictures of the decorations, so she went inside.
Yeah, and this isn't to scare anybody or anything else, but it's always best to just make sure you're protected. And this goes to insurance too. If you have a photography business, and I'm going to make this statement, then I'll let Vahagan chime in because he has a photography business. He shoots weddings, events, and things like that. But if you're in business, period, and this applies to photography just like anything else, your liability insurance that you get is not just to protect your equipment. Don't ever think that, well, I go into this looking for insurance just to protect your equipment. That's a different kind of insurance.
Yeah.
If you're in business, you need that liability insurance because it protects you. And you know what? If you're a guy out there that's got a '77 Toyota Corolla, the driver's side window won't roll up, and you got two space saver tires on the front, you probably don't care if they take it. But if you have anything of value, a house or whatever, believe it or not, they can go after your assets, whatever your assets may be, for something stupid. Somebody tripping over a light stand or whatever. So I would say, make sure if you're going to be in business that you are protected. You're protecting your family and everything, your assets, not just your equipment. And I'll let you chime in on that too, Vahagan.
No,
Yeah, you can.
I've got a question for Vahagan tied in with that. When you shoot a wedding, do you have the parties sign anything that allows you to use those photographs for marketing material?
Yeah, in my contract, it stated that I own the rights to the photographs, so they know that as a photographer, as an artist. It's in the contract, whether they read that part or not. I always encourage them to read it, but they just say, "Hey, where do I sign? Here's a deposit." Blah blah blah. That's it. But it's a wedding, so chances are that I'm not going to use this image. Pepsi's not going to call me and want, a shot of
Yeah.
a bride. So that has never happened to me. So, but yeah, it's in the contract, Jeffrey. But to touch on Chuck's point, you cover your butt, you cover your gear, you cover anybody getting hurt, you know, anything like that. And then one more thing you could put in your contract is that the client can't come after you because you missed a shot. Let's say you missed the rings, right? And they could sue you for that. But if it's in your contract saying that, all the shots that I take at your wedding under my discretion, you know, then you should be covered, But yeah, it's good to have that kind of insurance.
It's a good point too, Maz, man. So it's a lot to think about. And, the only reason I know anything at all about this, and I don't know much, is I started a HVAC business with my brother. And one, you have to have insurance before you can actually go out and start operating. But if anything were to happen, and I incorporated, I have an S corp, and what that does for me is it protects my assets from any liability the company may fall into. So yeah, there's a lot to actually check out before you begin to start any kind of business. The last thing you want is, if you have anything of value in your life, um, you know, uh, a problem, especially if you're operating as a business, they can go after everything you own, and there are ways to protect it. Insurance is one. The other is to have a business license. One, you have to have some form of incorporation or limited liability company
Yeah.
established or whatever. So I'm just fair warning to those that think, my photos are great and they may be fantastic. I'm going to start shooting weddings, just as an example here. And you start shooting weddings without taking all those precautions, you may find yourself in a very bad situation. So,
And I also make them sign a model release, you
Yeah.
know, so just in case.
Yeah. I had a business at one time with photography, and I was an LLC for that exact reason.
Yeah.
And I model releases as well. But now that I'm shooting primarily things without people in them, I'm not set up that way now. 'Cause I don't think the bird is going to sue me for taking a picture of it. So
I mean,
uh,
it's as ridiculous as owning a home and the UPS man slips on your sidewalk because it's icy and busts his hip. Believe it or not, that can get ugly as well. It's just ridiculous. We're in a sue happy society, and unfortunately, you've got to protect yourself every way you can. So,
yeah,
just be smart about it.
But I think the days of social media and Instagram have eased it up a bit for photographers because there's everybody's taking a picture of something out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of made it easy for the professionals or the guys with good cameras to kind of look normal out there.
Yeah, I wish I could find that photo that I was talking about. As a matter of fact, a earphone company asked me about it because somebody had sent it to them. Hey, you need to check out this photo. This is a great ad opportunity for you. And they did contact me, but it was a very short contact. It was just, do you have a model release or for this image? And my answer was no. And they said, well, thank you very much. That was the end of that.
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. It would be interesting to get a legal person on one of your shows, guys.
I'm going to try to find somebody. And now I'm actually going to do some research and find a photographer, a lawyer that is familiar with. And there are some, but I don't know how successful I'll be at finding anybody that would be willing to come on here and talk without me paying them a bunch of money. But we can see if somebody would be willing to talk to the community and at least give us some guidelines on what we should or shouldn't do.
Or a photographer that's been through it and knows
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
law.
Yeah.
That'd be good too. Somebody that
Yeah.
does this every day for a
Yeah.
living.
Oh,
Get Matt Irwin. Try to get Matt Irwin. Of course,
Yeah,
Australian laws might be totally different too.
do you guys remember this incident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. How much more ridiculous can it get? It's just unbelievable.
Easy money.
Well,
Easy Money's a
PETA,
guy I've known
PETA
for a
helped
long
close
time.
down a zoo. Helped close down a zoo recently in the Myrtle Beach area. They've been after them for 20 plus years trying to shut them down, and finally the legalities got too expensive. So the zoo, who's had these animals, started off with we like animals, we have animals, it turns into a zoo. And granted, they didn't have the money to upkeep it the way they should, but they fed the animals and they did their best to take care of these animals. But PETA made them a target. So the zoo closes down. They ship their animals, get shipped to some zoo in North Carolina, and now PETA's going after them, saying, well, they're not a good zoo either. So all they're doing is trying to shut down every zoo. Oh, the antelope had a cut on its toe and they didn't take care of it, and they're mistreating the animals. And oh my God, they're just crazy. They're absolutely ridiculous.
Maz, I got to find somebody that'll do it pro bono, man. Oh,
Good luck doing that, lawyers.
But you got to find a lawyer that's big into photography.
yeah.
As well, and then that guy might do it for free.
You got to go into the Leica forums.
Yeah, the Leica forum. Well, get a contact from Amar. Amar might know somebody.
Hey, I got to jump off of here. I got to go work on a deck now. So we'll talk to you guys later.
All right, David.
Good
Thanks for being
you,
in here.
David.
Thanks for sharing your experience too, buddy.
Yeah. Take care. We'll see you guys.
Yeah.
See you,
right.
man.
Out for rusty nails, man.
I'm past that point. It's all new stuff now.
Okay.
See ya.
Hey, Chuck, I gotta bail too, man.
All right, brother.
But yeah. Thanks for having me. This was fun. Thanks to everyone in the chat. And I'll update the live streams for tomorrow or next week. We'll see.
Okay. Looking forward to both.
Yeah. So yeah, man. All right, Jeffrey, Chuck, everybody in the chat. We'll see you guys.
All right, Vahagan. Thanks for being in there. Thanks for hanging out with us, brother.
Keep on rocking.
Rock and roll. Yeah, Flint. Flintlock. I saw your photo, the gator. Yeah, and somebody had asked. I think it was Mike Farwell. He asked, "Do I ever carry?" And I can't remember the exact question, but yeah, I do. I pick and choose where I do that, Mike. Even with the law on your side, it often may cause problems. But if it's something, that the law is not going to disturb my right to carry, and I feel that maybe it'd be a good idea, you betcha I do. And I did when I was out in Salt Lake City. Well, Salt Lake City is gun friendly, or Utah is gun friendly, so that helps. But when we would be way out in the desert areas, or out away from built up areas, I always carried when I was out there, because you never know what kind of a nut you may run into. So, yep. And I don't want to encourage anybody to carry or not carry. You got to make that choice yourself. But I will carry from time to time, but not always.
Gustavo talks about taking photos in professional sporting events. Sometimes they don't allow lenses beyond certain lengths. Yeah, some don't allow photography at all. Or you go to a rock concert or something, they won't. Well, not that people don't take pictures with their trying to use their flash that's only good for 15 feet on their little cameras, trying to take pictures from 50 yards away of the concert, the people playing in concert, but they don't allow you to bring your cameras in there either. So people still do it with their phones, of course. But
yeah, that's usually based. Well, the venue is determining that,
right?
And often it's it's for multiple reasons. It's not just the venue; it's because of the artist. The artist has made that stipulation as
Right.
well. So the only way you get photos with long lenses or carrying any kind of what they call professional equipment, photo equipment, is if you have a event pass or a press pass or credentials to shoot while you're there. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, hey, Arthur, yeah, you're absolutely right. In that situation, yeah, if I knew I was going out into that situation, I would definitely be carrying. You can bet. Just like if I were in Alaska and I was out shooting landscapes in Alaska, you can bet I'm carrying. No doubt about it. Oh, yeah, Mike, that's something that they a lot of concealed carry courses talk about flagging, flashing, or you got to be careful with that too because that can be a reason for escalating the situation. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that they in the courses they warn about that. Um, let's see. No, I got the wrong comment, but I got Mozman's comment. They go so fast. There you go. So I was in a situation I faked reaching to my side and the problem walked away. And that's good. I'm glad that happened. But you have to be careful with that too, because the lawyers will eat things like that up. You're saying, well, you escalated the situation and the other individual reacted to what they perceived as a threat. And I mean, it just goes on and on. And I hate to say, but that's the world we live in today. But I always follow that up with, it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. So you got to make a decision.
I never heard that one before. That's good.
Yep. Rather be judged by 6 or 12 than carried by 6. That's why I could never be a cop, folks. In the military, it was completely different. You have rules of engagement and things like that, but you're allowed to protect yourself, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sorry I couldn't be a cop today because I'm going home at the end of the night. And what that means is I'm going to protect myself from a perceived threat, even. And I don't know how they do it. My hat is off to all law enforcement personnel because I wouldn't last long in that profession. I don't mean I don't mean that I would die. I mean the opposite, that somebody else might, because I'm going to live. I'm winning that. I'm winning that argument. Yeah, I don't carry a 308, buddy. Oh man. Yeah, it gives law enforcement officers a legal argument to escalate. Yeah, absolutely. And just one more bit of advice, and I know everybody out there knows this because you're good citizens and everything else, but um, abide by, no matter how rude or physical or whatever an officer is. I'm gonna abide by what he's telling me to do, and I'm gonna do it. And I think that today it's the big challenge, to challenge authority that goes on and escalates these things that have brought on so many problems in the U.S. Instead of just listening to them and doing what they say, getting beat up, you can always win a big settlement later if that's the case. But when you begin to fight back and it escalates, is it worth dying for? Being a martyr just because you were going to show the police that they were wrong. But anyway, all right. Let me get off that for a bit.
I like Mozman's comment. I'd rather shoot native 600 than be carried by a crop sensor.
I love it, Moz, man. I love it.
Yeah. Let's get back to photography.
Yeah, Sebastian, that's a good point too. That's why I say, I don't want this to roll into, trying to scare everybody into all these different situations or whatever. But common sense should prevail, and when you should, when you shouldn't. Um, and sometimes, and I hate to say this because we're in a world that forces us to say it now. Used to be you could defend yourself and your property, but you really can't anymore. Um, you just have to, use common sense.
Well, when I was shooting that picture of the Ferris wheel, and I said to my friend, I says, I'd like to get a shot from the other side, shoot it from the other direction. So we walked that way. And then I'm looking and I'm saying, you know what? We're not going to do that. And because to get to where I wanted to be, there weren't very many lights at all. It was poorly lit. There weren't any, lights on that part of the boardwalk or whatever. It was very dark and I could see people in the distance. And I just said, you know what? Not worth the risk, man. The lighting is on. There's no lights over there. Something could happen. I'm not taking the risk. I'll forego getting the shot. I says, let's go walk this way and take pictures somewhere else. And that's what we did. But you just have to have common sense and you gotta err on the side of caution. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I am going to try to find somebody though that can talk to us about this, at least get us a little more informed on what our rights are. We have a lot of people that will run around acting as if they know, oh no, you can and you can't. And I've learned not to trust people making bold statements and expect that to hold up in court. So, um, yeah, Charles, you're absolutely right. Good to see you, buddy. And common sense isn't all that common anymore. So true. So true. All right. All right. Yeah. Good point, Sebastian. And I do too. I mean, and I'm willing to go walk around down in New York City. Um, Even though I know that there is a chance, you just can't say that I guarantee it's not going to happen to me. But it just depends on, where I actually live. I'm not worried about, violent crime that way, but it doesn't mean that I don't go to places where it could happen. And, obviously I don't carry in New York City because New York is a communist state and doesn't like guns, period. And it takes an act of Congress to actually get a concealed carry permit. And you're definitely not going to carry it down in the city. That's for certain. But there are other things you can do to protect yourself. And then beyond that, you just take a chance if that's what you want to do. And I choose to, like I said, I choose to not live in fear. Jaspreet, good to see you in here, buddy. All right. Wow, a lot of new names in here today. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you joining the conversation, Sebastian. And I invite everybody that's viewing, and, to jump in with your opinions and everything else. That's what this is about. Again, I had somebody mention in a comment over on Vahagan's video that he did, asking people to come check out the channel here. Anyway, saying it's too long and there's no structure. And my answer to that is yes, it is long, but you don't have to stay the entire time. Come and go as you please. That's what this is about. It's more the chat room than it is talking heads, even though we talk a lot. And as far as structure goes, you guys drive the structure. Where are we right now? What are we talking about?
We went from what are you shooting now this time of year to how do you protect yourself and what are the laws of taking pictures on the street?
Yeah. So what I've talked about, in the past is as these streams continue to go on, I'm not even going to put a topic up, and I'm breaking the norms on YouTube. Okay, I'm just going to state that right up front. If you haven't figured it out yet, watch a few live streams and you'll realize I am not going along with the YouTube norms. It's not a video. I can't put on a 3 or 5 hour stream a timeline with all the conversation that went on. I'm sorry. That would look very unstructured, and it is. But when you're participating, the structure thing you don't even question the structure in the live stream. You just get in here and have a conversation, have a sidebar over here in the chat room. I love when I'm seeing that it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but you guys are having a conversation, because that's what it's all about. And I also had somebody say they don't like live streams because, everybody ignores the chat. Lord knows I don't.
No.
And I interrupt our conversation quite often, like, hey guys, hang on a minute. We got a question or a comment. And I try to keep up with it as best I can. But I want you guys to be the real, you are the channel. And I want everybody to be able to, state their opinions, state their points of views, and also talk about what you want to talk about. But again, back to, there's a lot of expertise that winds up over here in the chat, people that are far more knowledgeable than I am on any subject. And you're welcome to strike up a conversation in the chat with them. Also, if a few more comments about, well, it's the same people in there all the time. Well, sure it is, because, I send out invites, but now I always extend the invitation to you. Those of you that are viewers or in the chat, I extend the invitation to you to be on the panel. When I say the panel, I just don't have a better word for it. But if you want to be on here live and you have the ability to stream, I'm more than happy to bring you in here for your point of view and to talk and be part of the panel. All you have to do is send me an email. All right. The email's on my channel, and I flashed it up here a couple of times already during the stream. And if you want to see it again, I'll provide it. But the whole point is, this is a community. It's not me. And I know that sounds fake, phony, and everything else, but that's how I feel about it. It is a community where we all get together and we all chat. And going back to why I established this, so everybody understands my point of view, I had left comment after comment on YouTube channels and videos, and they're never going to get answered. You don't have a voice there. Very few people, especially the giant channels, are ever going to go back and look at the comments, by the way. And some will tell you they don't. And I got tired of that. And I would see live streams where they would have a live stream, but it was 2, 3, 4 talking heads that never paid attention to what was going on in the chat. And my idea was to bring something different to the table. It isn't structured unless you're in here, and then you feel like it's structured because you're participating. But bring a channel, into YouTube where it's just a get together, a community, and have a talk about photography, gear, whatever. So I'm hoping that you guys can see that, and I'm hoping that you're sharing this with others, not so I can build my channel. I really appreciate what Vahagan did. I do want to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I have a reason for that. And that's because then I really can work the algorithm so that more and more people will see this and may join it and be part of this community. If it was for monetization, well, I'm barking up the wrong tree. I'm not going to make any money at this.
No. If you want to jump things up drastically, you have to just specifically talk gear and do gear reviews.
Yeah. So, again, everybody, I want everybody to know that you are part of the community. You're not just somebody in the chat or just somebody as a viewer. You have a voice. You can use it here and bring it up, jump in. And if you would like to be in the panel on some of the live streams, just send me an email. If you have the means to stream, then by all means, send me an email. So I'm all about that. All right.
I'm gonna
Let's see what Maz has got down here to say. Chuck, you just need to start with an AP photo news fix followed by a scripted rant of the day. Then the rest can be unscripted. How's that for structure? That sounds good to me because, I don't mind ranting, of course. I do like to rant. Oh, man.
I'm gonna throw, if you don't mind, Chuck, I'm gonna throw a question out to the people in the chat, just out of curiosity. Are there any people in the chat that go out that are, let's say, storm chasers, like to get pictures of hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, that type of thing? Is there anybody out there that intentionally takes that risk to go out there and try to get those types of photos.
While you guys ponder and react to that, I'm going to throw this up here. Are photo contests good or bad thing? I once heard they were a vehicle for acquiring photos. I don't know. I don't know, Michael. Photo contests, a lot of photographers will say they're worthless. Why do it? Or you just want to, or you just trying to get, I don't know, people to see your photos, or are you testing your photography ability? They're so, I don't know. Photo contests for me, as I've participated in a few and actually watched a few. Um, a photo that I think is fantastic doesn't get a second look, and a photo that I think is, yeah, it's nice, but it wins the whole contest. So if
Yeah.
you're in it to win it, you may become disappointed quickly. But if you're in it to showcase your photography, then I think do it. I think that's fine. And by the way, we do have our photo review the first Saturday of every month. First Saturday in every month, we have a photo review, and everyone is welcome to participate in that. We don't beat anybody up. We're not purists. We're not pixel peepers here. It just boils down to, do I like it? When I see it, it's like, yeah, I like that. That captured my attention, or whatever. And if you'd like to just showcase what you're shooting, or just showcase your best ever photos, that's fine. Or if you want to post a photo and ask questions about how can I make this better, that's fine too. So I just want everybody to know that, and make sure if you want to participate, first Saturday in each month we do it. And all you have to do is email a photo, JPEG, 2048 pics, 2048 on the long side is all I ask, whether it's portrait or landscape orientation. And you're in, man, and your photo will come up, and you have an opportunity to talk about it too, either via the chat room or the phone line, which the phone line's open today. And I forgot to, if anybody ever wants to call in and just ask, is the phone line open? Because it's always supposed to be open, but I often forget that I have it up and running, ready to go. So there you go. This is for all the new folks that might be in here, the new viewers.
I mean, comment on photo contests. Photo contests are a strange thing because people enter them for different reasons.
Yep.
I know someone who enters every photo contest that he can, and if he wins, he lets you know about it. And so sometimes people do it because they have an ego, they want to win. So, and some people do it and they say, well, now I can say I'm an award-winning photographer because I won an award. Some people do it just to see how they stack up along their peers. I've done it a couple times, but I'm not big into it because it is so. The panel that's judging the photos, what your genre that you do might not be something that they care for, and your photo could be very good, excellent, but it gets passed by because, they like they're looking for that perfect portrait shot. They don't care about wildlife. So it's it's a tough thing. If you want to do it, you do it. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with doing it, but everybody has a different reason for doing it. And the way I look at it, if I'm happy with what I take and I'm lucky enough that a handful of people appreciate what I do, that's a bonus for me.
That's what Joe Mack's talking about here. He says, problem with contests is people start shooting for the contest, not for themselves. I see that firsthand in my photo club. Yeah. But then again, it's person to person. I would agree with shoot for, I'm not a professional photographer. I'm not a paid photographer. Therefore, whatever I shoot, I can shoot what I want. I can edit the way I want, and I'm happy with it. I still like, people to, throw some criticism at it sometimes just so I can look at it again. But, people have different reasons for, as you just stated, Jeffrey, for entering contests. So there was another. This is answering your question. Mozman talked. Did you see the comment that he left, Jeffrey, on your question?
Okay. Yeah, I mean I mean, I give credit, and it takes a lot of we'll just say, well, I'm trying to think of a nice way of wording it. Well, it takes guts to go out there and put your neck on the line to try to get those twisters. Like David Moots and Z-Way. They live in Kansas. They get their more than fair share of tornadoes and stuff. And if you're doing that, man, you got some guts.
All right, I'm gonna put the phone line up here just so if anybody would like to call in, you're welcome to do so. Just understand that you may not be able to hear Jeffrey. You'll hear me. I haven't got all that part worked out, but everybody will hear you. If you'd like to call in and state your opinion or whatever, by all means do. And there you go. Still going. You know better than that, Zach. We're about to hit the 3-hour mark, so it's not going to be long before I wrap it up, though. Let's see. Man, it's been so, yeah, talking about structure again, we've been all over the place, but I think we had a good time traveling all over the place with all the things that we touched on. Again, I wish I had a more definitive answer on the street photography thing and insurance and all, but I'm going to see if I can find somebody to come in and talk to us and answer questions. The other thing is anybody that comes on the show, and I have in here, this is why I don't get any big names, because they don't want to be subject to questions from the chat. But that's important to me. If you're here, you need to answer questions that are pointed at you. And, I want to make sure again that happens. So, let's see.
Well, it's like a politician who says, I'll answer your questions as long as they're scripted and I have them a couple days ahead of time.
Yeah.
You got to be able to answer anybody's questions that pops in their head and comes out of their mouth, in my opinion. And if you're not comfortable with that, then I don't want to talk to you.
Vaughan said, great comment, Cal Jackson. I gotta see here. Let me do this. I know this aggravates people, but hey, you know what? I got to work with what I have. I'm sorry about that. Now I can go back here and find the.
Okay,
I think
see it. Yeah.
Your show is like in the old days when you would hang out at the old store, sitting around the potbelly stove and talking about it. There you go. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head, Cal. That was the intent, and that's exactly what it is. So I guess we're achieving the goal here because, again, it's just about that. Just a bunch of photographers getting together. We get a little heated at times, opinionated. Yeah, absolutely. But that's the passion in photography, isn't it? So. But no bashing of brands, not going to do that. I get to do that with Nikon because I shoot Nikon, but I don't bash the equipment. I just bash their strategy and marketing. But no bashing of cameras or shooters or whatever. No cussing. And I know that bothers some people, but that's a rule here. No cursing, no cussing. Hang on.
Uh-huh.
Okay, hang on just a second. And all right. So who do we have?
Is this the M&M guy?
This is the M&M guy. You got him.
How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing well. Who's this?
This is Arthur Smith.
Hey, Arthur. Good to hear you, man. You got to turn the sound down on the feed there for the show.
I turned it off.
Okay.
I turned it off completely.
Okay. All right.
I was just calling in. I wanted to see if the line worked, speak to you for a moment and see how you guys are doing. I participate in some of these videos, these conference
Yeah.
videos with you guys on YouTube on Tuesday nights with Amar.
Okay.
And I'm a wildlife photographer. I've been doing it for a while. And, you know, I'm afraid I'm not very much help with all the legalities that you guys are talking about, but maybe some of the other stuff when it comes to out in the field, you know?
No, absolutely. That's what makes it a community is we've got all this broad range of knowledge within the photography community. I by no means expect to be able to answer anything correctly, but you know what?
Well,
I'm surrounded by so many smart people that can answer it. And that's the key.
most of you guys are professionals and some of you are making money doing it. And I'm just, you know, I've been doing it for a good long time just for the fun of it. I've sold things in the past, but that's not why I do it. And, you know, the legality part of it interests me, but, you know, I don't think I have anything to worry about because I'm not shooting portraiture or models or anything like that. I'm out in the field on most of the time private property and sometimes on public property, you know.
Yeah.
So my understanding from the Supreme Court is what the eye can see, you can photograph it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you're able to sell.
Right.
That's the thing, and commercially make money from it.
Yeah.
So, but with what I do, you could. It's just the fact that I don't have an outlet to sell anything, or
Right.
you know, even try. I want to go out there and just do it because, you know, I look at you guys and I look at the backgrounds and I see, you know, 20 or 30 really nice lenses and multiple camera bodies and, you know.
Hey,
these are all cardboard cutouts, just so you know.
Yeah, Jeffrey's actually at B&H right now. He's at the Nikon counter at B&H. Don't let him fool you. No, it's a hobby for me, Arthur. It's just a hobby. And yeah, I've sunk a lot of money into this hobby, and you know, other people collect cars, watches, or whatever. But I'm not a working photographer in the sense that I earn a living. I haven't earned a dime from photography, but I enjoyed it. I was passionate about it. I'm crazy that way. And, you know, and again, like I said, I've been all over YouTube watching videos for years now. And, I just decided, why not, man? Let's put together a little studio and let's have some fun.
And see what happens. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, but to my point, you know, about hobbies, I ride race bikes. I like to fly helicopters.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Which is very expensive.
Yeah.
And I also like sports cars.
Yep.
But my main love is photography, and you know, I don't have all the gear that you guys have because what I do is I go through cameras.
Yeah.
I use what I need out in the field, and you know, I moved to, and I know you guys are Nikon guys and whatnot, but I moved from Pentax to Olympus with the $7,500 150 to 400 lens, which I did not care for.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was worth the money. Y'all be quiet back here. I'm on the phone. And then I moved away from that because it cost so damn much money that for the lens and the EM1X body, it wasn't giving me what I wanted. So I moved to the A7R4 with the 200 to 600 lens.
All right.
And I found that lens to be a higher quality manufactured lens than the Olympus lens.
Okay.
So that's what I use. I use long telephoto lenses. And one of the reasons I went to that, and I don't know why I'm bringing this up with you guys, but you guys were talking about wildlife.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting us back on track.
In the A7R4 with 61 megapixels. You can shoot a 200 to 600 lens and make it a 900 millimeter lens.
Yeah.
And you need that when you go out there for what I do.
Yeah.
But look, I'm not going to keep you. I just wanted to call and talk to you, and I may call in again, and I'm sure I'll see you on other webinars with Amar, and I'll be joining yours more often. It's just that most of the time you're having yours at noon on Wednesdays.
Well,
is that right?
Well, yeah, I have two for that reason, because not everybody can be here, on a weekday in the middle of the day. So I have it at 12 noon on Wednesday, and I have another live stream on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you can't
Well,
make one, you may be able to make the other, but I don't expect people to be here all the time. I love it when people show up. That's fantastic. But nothing should take place of what you need to be doing, life, family, and everything else. So, but
as long as it's not in the middle of an LSU football game, I might be able to make it.
All right, man.
Because that supersedes everything.
There you go.
But look, it's good talking to you, and we'll talk again. Okay, I'll let you get back to everybody else in the chat.
All right,
those guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted those guys that are in the chat, and I'm reading them while I'm talking to you. I mean, you're doing the right thing by answering them and not completely ignoring them. I've seen a lot of these things go on where they have these types of a show on YouTube, and the guys that are in the chat just get completely ignored. And the questions don't get answered. They don't make light of anything that somebody says that might be worth, conversation.
No, you're absolutely right.
And but these guys in the chat, they're the ones supporting you. You said it best when you said it. So anyway, get on back to the live stream, and we'll chat again another time, man. It was good talking to you, and keep on going with the M&Ms, dude.
All right. I appreciate that. And if I ever do get monetized, that's the only thing I want to get monetized for, is to keep my M&M habit going. But hey, thanks a lot for calling, Arthur, because as Mozman said, it's great. So people can understand that when I say this, I actually mean it. I have the phone line set up just for this. So people can call in. Go ahead.
I wish Amar would do that, because I wanted to join on one of his live streams, and I just couldn't do it. It just wouldn't let me. It's something about the software, the application that he's using. I just couldn't do it. But if he would have had a call in line, I could have. I could have just called in and talked a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but I don't want to go over 5 minutes. Even if I have 5 minutes of anything worthy to talk about, which most of the time I don't, to be honest. So,
hey, brother, I don't either. I start the live stream and everybody provokes a conversation, and that's where we go.
All right, man. I'll see you in the chat.
All right. Thanks a lot for calling in, Arthur. All right, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. And there you have it, folks. That's how the live stream phone line works. And just so you know that when you're on the phone, you won't be able to hear necessarily the people that are in the panel. But still, it's a great way. If you don't feel like typing all that junk on a phone or on your iPad or on your computer or whatever, you can always call in. And if you don't see the number flashing, all you have to do is say, hey, is the phone line open? And it will be, because I forget. All right. All right. Yeah. And the comment over here, Vahagan, Greg Wilson just said, you really care about photography and small channels. And he does. I'll tell you that right now. Vahagan is fantastic. And while I'm on that, because I'm on this small channel kick, I think there are a lot of small channels out there that don't get a chance because the algorithm doesn't push us, the small under 1,000 subscribers, like it will once you hit that threshold. But check out the description in this live stream, in the thumbnail, and you'll find links to. All you have to do is click and go to a lot of the people that you'll see in the chat here, a lot of the people that you'll see on the panel, and check out their channel. And I would encourage everybody to subscribe, just like Vahagan did. That's the only way the small channels, will ever make it on YouTube. And my intent for the channel is everything that I've already said, plus the fact that I want it to grow, be an even bigger community. Maybe we can change the whole face of the angry photographer. I know I don't do that very well when I'm ranting, but bring the community together again, all makes, models, and years, and everything else, instead of this I don't know, bashing that goes on in so many other channels and streams or whatever. But all right, enough of that. Quit promoting yourself, Chuck, and get back to the show. But all right, let's see.
Ozman's giving me too much credit. He says I have a fake backdrop using my phone in Photoshop. He doesn't realize if I reach backwards too far, I hit a giant poster.
It's a green screen. Oh man. All right. I hear something. I may be needed again here in a minute. Yeah, thank you very much, Mozman. Now that's something I will ask for. Uh, the subscriptions are great, but I will ask for a like, and the reason for that is it motivates me, folks. It may sound petty, but it motivates me. It keeps me going. I know that people want to do this, and want to continue to do it. So a like goes a long way with me. It's just a way of telling me, hey, we're doing the right thing, and we're going to keep doing it. So appreciate the likes. I really do. Hey, Phil, thank you very much. And I'm sure everybody else feels the same way.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
It's the people and the quality of the people in the chat and the knowledge of the people in the chat and the willingness to share that make this the place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. And yeah, a lot of people will criticize the channel. I think their DP review, there was a thread over there. I actually enjoyed reading all the criticism. It was fun. But the one thing that stands out is none of them came over here to see what it was really about. And again, I think it's, it's just a good opportunity. With me, I can talk to my wife about photography, one of my passions in life, photography. I can talk to her for 2 minutes and she'll tell me, all right, I've had enough, go away. I didn't have anybody to talk to about photography, and you can only call and aggravate people so many times a week to talk about something photography wise. So anyway, my intent was to build this channel, and it gives everybody that's in that same boat an opportunity to go hang out with like-minded folks. And we have had a few ladies that have joined on occasion, and I'd love to get their perspective and get them involved in this too. And I've constantly asked for a younger audience to come in here with us and give their opinion on certain things, or tell us what's going on in the 20 something world. It sounds crazy to say it that way, as far as photography and videography is going. And I welcome them. I welcome them to come in here and share what they're doing with us as well. So again, these are some of the things as we continue to grow. I hope to fill out the roster, if you will, with more people that can talk about photography or want to talk about it. All right. I'm just running off at the mouth now. How do we get Chuck to share the M&Ms? When I move, for those that are new here, I am moving. I'm going down south, going down to Tennessee. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but it's getting closer. I will say that. When I get down there, I hope to have an actual studio, and I'm going to open it up for people to just drop by if they like, and you can share my M&Ms with me. Oh. And Mozman, we share everything here except M&Ms. Get your own. Yep.
Yeah, good girl.
All right, folks, we're past the 3-hour mark, and that's usually where I cut it off on Wednesdays, only because I've got things to do, and I get the evil eye sometimes telling me, hey, you got things to do. You need to get off the live stream. Saturday night's a different story. Those are where we we break records. I think our record now is 5 hours and 30 something minutes, something like that.
It was long.
Yeah, it was long. I agree. But I appreciate everybody being in here today. Again, if you would, I'd appreciate you just dropping a like. Again, it makes me feel good about what we're doing here. And hey, Mike, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I hope to see you in here more. Again, don't take time away from family and what you need to do, but anytime you want to just have a conversation or be part of a conversation on photography, jump in here with us. And that's Wednesdays at 12 noon. I'm sorry, 12 noon Eastern, and on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I tried to break this up time zone wise. It's not convenient for everybody around the world, but I tend to see more European folks, especially UK folks, in here for the Wednesday afternoon because I know it's evening for you. And the Asian area seems to favor the Saturday night stream, which is Sunday morning for them. I wish I could find a better time slot that was convenient for everybody, but at least that's what I was thinking when I did this. And we have some folks that show up regularly. He's not here today. He's probably busy, but he's normally here. And that's Roy Bigsby. And you want to talk old cameras and film cameras and everything, commercial photography, product photography. Roy is the man to talk to. And not only has he shot with it, he still has it.
Yeah, he has everything.
He has every camera he's ever bought from film days forward, and that includes some medium format as well. So,
yeah, digital backs for film cameras and everything. He's got it all.
So that's another person in this community that makes it so good. And again, and I encourage you. Yeah, he did break his Z9. He's not happy about that either. Mike, he dropped the camera with the lens, the 70-200 on it. He said it wasn't but about 2 feet, but it snapped the flange, the mount on the Z9. But for all the folks that have just come in, and I encourage you to get in here, share your experience, because there are people that may have questions for you as well. And that's exactly what we want to do, is just continue to share all the knowledge. And I just put the knowledge people together. I'm not the knowledgeable one. I'm just the janitor, as I've said before. I open the door, we get going, and when we finish, I sweep up the place and lock the door until the next one.
I don't buy that. You're very knowledgeable, Chuck. Give yourself a little credit.
No, I'm happy with just all you guys and all the knowledge that's out there. All right. So all that said, I guess I'm going to wrap this up because I do have to get back to work. I was cleaning the attic out this morning. Almost forgot about getting in here to set everything up for the live stream, but just did get that together. So Jeffrey, you have any parting words for the audience?
No, I mean, as always, everybody's great, and we appreciate the conversation that goes on the side here. And I think anyone who's on the panel, and Chuck especially, we always try to see what everybody's talking about and do the best to try to answer the questions or steer the conversation to align with what everybody's chatting about. And so that's what it's all about. Oh, I got a new video coming out midnight tonight, Thursday morning.
All right.
I changed the format at the beginning, and I'm not going to leak any more than that.
All right.
And those of you that are willing to watch it, I talk about it in the video that I want people's comments to see if they like what I've done with the beginning part of my video feed. So watch and leave a comment. Let me know. I'd appreciate it. And if you don't like it, let me know you don't like it. So I don't have a problem with that.
All right, everybody get over and check out Jeffrey's channel. It's Selective Imagery. And there's a link in the description on the thumbnail. You just click it and you're there. All right. Thanks, Jeffrey. And consider subscribing, lift us. I say these as if I'm somebody. I'm not. I'm a small channel. Lift up the small channels. Any channels that you find out there that you feel like they've got great content and they're under 1,000 subscribers, you know what? If you want to help them to even get better, subscribe to them. Again, a subscription costs nothing. You don't have to feed it, water it. You can click subscribe and never see it again. But if you want to help out, that is a big help, at least to get everybody over 1,000. After that, everybody's on their own. All right.
And Greg, thank you very much. I'm glad I could save you some money with your therapist.
Yeah, and I enjoy it too for that reason, Jeffrey. It's great therapy. A cup of coffee and Jeffrey and selective imagery talking me through some wonderful photos and video. There was one thing I wanted to say. Oh, since I have Mozman in here, Mozman, do we want to go with storage on Saturday night? This will be the one time we can probably stick to topic. Give him a second to chime in. So what I'm talking about, folks, for those that may not know, Mozman's going to help us out, and we're going to go over storage. I know I need help with it. Okay, Saturday night sounds great. So Saturday night, and I'll make sure that gets in the thumbnail. Anybody that's interested in listening to a discussion about storage. I don't know what your situation is. I have hundreds, well, not literally hundreds, but I've got these everywhere and everything. I don't know. I need a one source storage system. And he's going to talk about that and talk about the need for backup, or caution everybody about backing up things and everything else. But I need to start at one point, just find a central point to be able to begin to store all this stuff, especially now with the live stream going on and everything else. So if you're interested in that, or you want to add to the conversation based on what you have, by all means, join us Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk storage and what it is, how it works, and how many systems are out there, what's best, and everything else, from people like me that need to start out, in the beginning here, and at a reasonable cost, all the way up to, if you want to talk about storage, it costs multiple thousands of dollars. I'm sure he's willing to talk about that as well. But by all means, be in here and share your experiences and maybe learn a little bit. I know I'm going to learn a lot. And I thank Moz already for it. So Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're talking storage, baby. We're going to make that sexy.
Well, hey, if anybody can make it sexy, it would be Mozman. So,
yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
He could do magic with some presentations, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Store photos, not bodies. All right, man. All right, folks, that's about it. And now I'll leave you with the parting words of Greg Wilson, Nature Photography. Get out there and shoot. All right, folks. Thank you all so much. Had a wonderful chat today. Look forward to everybody Saturday night, and hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week. God bless you all. I'm Chuck, and we're out.